We got Neil. They're locked. They're loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers that you selected for us. Make sure to catch that with Adair and I on how to trade and get your vote in the chat. Let's start off with the futures. The triple Qs up marginally here, about 1/3%. It's been a decent day for some of the Mag 7 names, though. Apple very strong. Tesla very strong. We'll get to that in a second. But the monster Nvidia and the overall semiconductors and chips have been quite red or flat on the day as we start Q3 here, guys. Good afternoon. And what was your look on Nvidia?
Nvidia it's a rocket. I think one of the things that you have to remember with Nvidia is when they dip by this, when people want to dip by it, it can be relentless. So when it does any kind of a bottoming tail at the open, and this is why it was the lesson of the day, kind of started with when should you look from going one direction to the other. It was because of things like what Nvidia did. Now ultimately it's only flat right now, but we gotta start. Everything starts with the 123 level on Nvidia. When it lost that this morning, we're looking for shorts underneath, right? Like 3 days in a row, double bottom 123, double bottom 123, double bottom 123. Once it was above, you started looking for longs. I don't think there's anything different this afternoon. As usual, once it catches a bid, if 9:30 to 10 o'clock represents a bottom wick on a breakdown in Nvidia and it gets back above VWAP, we know the usual story. Fighting in the afternoon can be ugly. That said, if it loses 123, that's the big level. That's what you want to trade off of. If we're underneath that, I think it can easily be a flush kind of afternoon for this stock. The market didn't really go anywhere, and as Sharif has pointed out, like if you're losing 20,000, you got to look for things that are going to be weak. Currently, oh yeah, I got to take a fill to show the positions. I'm only in 3 positions. I got short Intel, long Dell, which we'll see what happens there, and then GameStop, which is going to the upside. But Nvidia, it's all about 123. If it can hold the line at 123, I think you got a base for some longs, but the futures want the other thing.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that 123. We were looking at that as being somewhat of an interesting level last week, and coming in today, we washed around to the downside, a little bit to the upside, and yeah, 124. As you look at that, high of the consolidation is technically the high of the day right now. 124.84 is just underneath that 25. So I'm looking at that end of day consolidation from Friday as well. We are trading down a little bit past that, and we talk about that 20 thou being a little bit magnetic, and look at where we are. We're pulling right back off of that 20 thou. We made it all the way back from 19.820s dip on the NQs in the morning, and then the 5.5 dip on the ES as well. So definitely going to be interesting. That 123 is a little bit of I guess a pivot, or like a level to watch the tape for me, and it's holding that as of right now. So let's see what we have in store with Nvidia. But yeah, no, some other tickers, like for example, Tesla is breaking for a high of day as of right now. So I know that's the next one we're going to be talking about.
But yeah, Tesla up over 7%, going 7.1 right now. 2 different headlines today. One from Wells Fargo putting on their list of good ideas, but maintaining the underweight rating and saying several negative comments in that report. And then you had Wedbush coming out and saying they could see unexpected rise in deliveries. China demand can pick up again. And the robo-taxi that we're going to find out later in August about. So Tesla doing really well, guys, right now. Very much near day's high. What's the look?
Tesla.
I mean, in a small sense, that's what the look is. It broke everything today. You broke back above $200. You broke out the 206 level on the daily chart. You broke the 200 period moving average. The only thing left for Tesla to do, and we said this morning, if it continued, and it's not going to get there today, is to get to the top of the trend line that's been around since the beginning of last year. Okay, well, it's more like middle of last year. It's been a clean trend line. Get the bottom, get the top. I'd like to see it get there. I don't think you're getting there today. It would take like another $15 to $18 move. That seems a little bit extreme. I was looking for a dip buy in Tesla, yada, yada, yada. It only went to the upside. Shorted that 06 level, got away from it. That was good. Took a 210 break. That ends up being why I'm up Tesla. I had a short for a breakdown here into VWAP. It couldn't. Got out break even. And I think that level should have been a long. Once it didn't work there and then held, should have been maybe looking at where I was going to short it as a long trade at that 209. I don't know that we see that again. When a stock is trending like this, there's a phrase I always love when the market's going, or something is trending down, it's like short the pops. Well, the other side of that is buy the dips. I think you just got to look to buy the dips on this. There's really no obvious resistance levels on Tesla where it's trading until you get to like 15, 20. That massive trend line at 228, I think that's something we'll contend with in the coming weeks, and that'll probably be an issue for Tesla. But for now, if it gives you a consolidation, if it gives you a dip buy, this 211 once, twice, thrice, you heard it all during the midday how key a level that was. If it comes down here and bounces off that again, I think you just got to be long Tesla. 7% and leading everything right now.
Yeah, no, very, very strong on the day. I did attempt, I guess, a few shorts there initially in the morning session off of lower highs being made, kind of a break of trend. But yeah, you gotta kind of respect the action there when it comes right into VWAP here. This is on an hourly. I was looking at the 15-minute and the 3-minute as well. You can see that it comes in quite nicely, especially on a lower time frame, right into VWAP, in and around those 205s, 204s we were talking about, kind of being the breakout area on the daily chart. You take a look at the quickly take a look at the daily here, right here, prior day's highs at that 203, and some of these prior highs as well, right around that 205.70s. Before we push into the gap here. Now, the gap being a little bit significant as that prior gap was off of the earnings in January as well. So it's like, all right, so I'm watching for some of these resistance levels to potentially come in, and we're coming into right here that day before the earnings report, where it was holding as a little bit of resistance right here at that 212.50s, 212.70s mark. Starting off the beginning of the year there, and we did kind of base off. We were looking at that low at that 140s. We ripped right back up off of it after prior earnings, and now we're breaking out of the daily chart back into the level that Neil is pointing out. Right, so that I guess on the weekly it looks much cleaner here. I think I do have the line right there. So it's like, all right, so that's kind of the overall trend over the past few years on Tesla, and we're ripping right past it after almost lick grabbing this 150 on a higher time frame. So yeah, definitely well within the stars. I don't think it can get to 250 intraday today, but you never know, right? If the right kind of volume and the right kind of catalysts come in intraday, and look at the market as well, we're reclaiming that 20,000. So with some of that market strength, let's see if Tesla can make it back up to some of those former prices of glory there, way above that 215, that 240s level. Yes, we definitely can.
Taiwan Semi down 0.75% right here, but no real bad headline for this name. It's just really overall chip weakness today. In fact, this one had a good headline. They're going to get another $10.25 billion US to continue building out their fab in Japan and Arizona. Again, really no bad headline for this one, but down 0.75%. Guys, did you have a look at Taiwan Semiconductor?
I will admit to having not looked at this stock until it showed up on the list of the names that everyone wanted to address. I'm surprised. I'll get to Dell in a second. I'm surprised not more interest in Dell. That's a pretty big recovery there. But TSM, yeah, we showed, like, Nvidia holding on to that 123. We showed Tesla being strong. You got the market taking that 20,000. TSM doesn't look nearly as bullish. You can see pretty clearly, like on Friday, couldn't get past a big 177 level, lower high here today, right in line with that other lower high. Doesn't hold on to the afternoon support from Friday on a pullback into 174, so it's just all bearish with that. And if the market pulls down, I mean, you do threaten to Thursday's close, which is your last line of support, you do threaten that for a test back into the bottom. I mean, above 20,000, yeah, there's other things I like that are stronger than TSM. Overall, I like the stock in a general sense. I mean, the trend is, I mean, it's gorgeous. I think now you can make a decent connection with the double top that it's got on. Like, you didn't really have anything to work with on this top, but now that you have another big rejection here, I think you do have a pretty significant top trend line that you're working with, and a super, super steep trend coming out through the bottom, and it's barely even holding on to that as we speak. But it looks like a bearish type name as far as I'm concerned, at least for now with TSM. Relative to everything in the market, you're down that 0.8%. So many other things are flying. There's a lot of places to go to look for long opportunities. Good stock, but I don't see much unless the market breaks down. This would be like a flat bottom break for me. Like I would be thinking short underneath 172 quarter if we start breaking down on TSM. But we're above 20,000 and looking like we want to break higher.
Yeah, definitely. It's been in a quite a strong uptrend as well from the beginning of the year. This is action from January. Again, in between kind of earnings, it's only been ticking up. The earnings in January reported we ticked up all the way from what is this? From prior earnings down at 100 all the way up to 157, and then pulls back in for the next earnings. Doesn't really take it too well, pulls back down into 125s before kind of reclaiming that 150. And now we're holding in a little bit of a sideways channel that I'm observing over the past few days, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we've kind of been knocking on the door of this 175, coming pulling back into this 170. We wipe pretty much a decent chunk of that range into and off of the open there. This is the hourly candle here, and we're pretty much in the middle of the range there. So yeah, let's see what it does with the market being this strong. Is it kind of connected with all these other constituents? I know Nvidia is attempting to push for its high a day. I know Amazon's super strong as well. Yeah, Apple, Microsoft as well. So Google kind of sideways, but yeah, let's see if TSM can bring in some of that strength as the market. There it goes, NQ pushing fresh highs of day as of right now. Let's see if ES can follow in suit.
Palantir up almost 2% today. No specific headline for this one on the day, but there was that holdover from Friday. There were a couple of nods there from Peter Thiel, as well as Dan Ives going on BNM Bloomberg and basically saying, or basically dismissing the notion that Palantir is not at the cutting edge of AI, giving them the nod. It was a good day Friday, another good day today. I know Sean's not here, but what's the look on Palantir?
Oh, the rhyme. Like look at that. Sharif's not playing around today. He came to ball this week. What you can't see is the man just danced off the stage. He's high stepping it away from the green screen when we still have the spy to go. You can't take it off just yet. I'm just saying we got more work to do in here. Look, Palantir, it's a 25 to 26 story at this point. So 25 from Friday bottom, kind of a similar one today. It already rejected 26 once, got like a couple of pennies above and pulled back. But I still think you got a nice little upward trend going. The market's flying. This could be, it could be. This is a breakout for me. And I don't know if it's going to get there, but if it does get there, I'd be looking breakout through this 26 level. The high is 26.02. The market's doing the right things. It's got the support, and then it's taking out that channel. You have the higher low over previous resistance. You got room to the top. That's 26.60. It just needs the will to actually make the breakout. But I don't know if that will is going to be there. You get that move into the high. I think 27 is a bit of a problem because of the daily, that 52-week high, but there's still some room. Just needs to make the break. There's other things you can look for that are already going, like Tesla's already broken out the top and trying to continue. This is one where you needed to take out that high. And because this is our opportunity to talk about it, Snowflake is getting real close to that 50 period. It did not take it very long. That 50 period sits at 146. This is still trending higher. An absolute moonshot. I mean, Palantir's having a good day, but this one is an absolute rocket ship to start this week. But I'll look at that 26. If we get there, great. If we don't, I don't see a trade. I'm asking myself if I would short it up at that high. I might try to scalp that short at like 98 or 99 with a reversal on it, but you cross that bridge when we get there, and as you can see, we ain't there yet. Uh-oh, GameStop's coming back. You talk some Palantir, but GameStop pulling back into VWAP. You can see I'm long 23, in front of 23 even.
Yeah, Palantir with a very strong trend for pretty much a decent amount of June right here. That bid kind of picking up in the first week of June, and we are continuing to the upside. And look at this strength that's been happening over the past couple of days. Now, just something that I'm seeing here, a very strong push on Thursday, sideways consolidation on Friday, and an attempt to push another leg coming in today. Sure, it's a little bit more choppy. We do have some prior resistance here at that 2660 mark where we got some aggressive selling all the way down to 23s, and we're headed right back up in that direction. Again, market tailwind is definitely on the side of this hourly trend that's been happening to the upside here on Palantir. Now going down to a lower time frame here, we are holding well within and above prior day's highs right here at that 2560-ish mark. So that's what I'll be watching for. We did pull back right into it and then bid right back above. So let's see if whether or not we can come into that 26.6s. It's done about 24 million shares traded on the day today with an average volume of 37. So going to be watching that. Still has a lot more left to go. About an hour and 45 minutes until the bell here on Palantir, and it's still got to trade just under, I guess, just over 10 million more shares for it to meet the average daily traded volume there on the day. And it's trading above one relative volume right there, 1 times relative volume. So yeah, let's see if it can get to that 37 mil mark and what price action will come in store with said volume coming into the ticker.
Pump it. Up 0.25% is the SPY. Good strength in the market. Definitely today, tech leading the way. Consumer discretionary and transportation a little bit weak today, so that's pulling down the SPY from outperforming its rival, the triple Qs. But yeah, up 0.25% right now, as you guys mentioned. The market really booming here. What's the look on the future?
Yeah, the story for the future is kind of like we already showed you, like Nvidia with the V-shaped recovery. It's more or less the same thing, right? You just broke down into last week's support, bounced, and we're pretty much where we started this morning without breaking out the top. You got about 30 cents here on the SPY before it takes out that high. I'm just going to juxtapose that for a quick little second. I'm just going to show you the NASDAQ futures so you can get an idea. Like the NASDAQ is breaking out while the SPY still has a little bit of overhead resistance. So there's a chance you get up to that morning top on the SPY, you're watching some high flyers and you're watching the NASDAQ or the Qs, and you see it's running into some resistance. Well, it could just be the SPY reaching the top. So it's not much by way of recovering what was lost on Friday, but in terms of solidifying a double bottom here of sorts, I should say at 542.5, certainly a good job. I would just watch out. When we get to this high, 546, you might run into a little bit of resistance there. Rob EV, any of you going to be trading Amazon 200 if we get there?
Ooh, is it
Yes,
there?
we can.
Oh, it's right there.
Yes.
Close.
Look, I'm telling you this right now. Win, lose, or draw. Good game, by the way. I love win, lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw. I will trade Amazon when it gets to 200. I don't know when we're going to get there. Maybe we get there this afternoon. Well, I should preface this. If we get to 200 and it's like 357, I will not be trading Amazon. If it's after 4 o'clock, I will not be. But you know what I'm getting at. If there's a reasonable opportunity to trade off a 200 on Amazon, then yeah, I mean, we're going to do it. It's just, it is what it is. But yeah, the SPY getting into that resistance while the NASDAQ does break out. Just one quick thing. Dell was a good short at 142. It didn't last very long. I'll tell you that right now. 142 was resistance all last week. Came into 140.60. I reversed long when it broke out and held above 42. I'm holding for a 144 here on Dell. So it's this and GameStop long as we speak. This market seems to want to break it out, but watch out for that morning high on the SPY. I still think that could be a bit of a turn spot.
Yeah, no, I think I'm watching that price action as well. Again, we know that last week Friday was a bit of a rebalancing, and the week before as well on the prior Friday. And take a look at this, a little bit of a wick action on the spider itself, down into that 542, 543 area at the end of the day on Friday. We saw how heavily some of the constituents sold off. If you look at Apple, if you look at Microsoft, if you look at some of the other large caps as well, aggressive selling going into the close, and look at that, comes in, wipes that bottom. Pretty much 542.53s is the low, so only about a 40 penny drop from Friday's lows right there, and then we rip right back up. So the question becomes, how are we starting this week? This week's opening price, which is the opening price on the day, is 545.63s, and we're only about 3 pennies away from there. So the candle, yes, as I'm saying this, is just going red to green here on the day. You can see the ES as well, kind of pushing back up in towards opening prices. So the question becomes, are we going to pull back off of this? 550s are the high on the spider. We're only about 5 points away, and if the market's going to continue being this strong so early on in the week, the question I'm asking is, are we printing a bottom wick on the week with this with a bit of a grab on Friday? We did recover pretty much everything that we sold off of in the morning session there, and as we're approaching the end of day there. So let's see where we close there on the spider. The market is super strong as of right now. It's taken back everything that it sold off of, and maybe going for more going forward into the end of the day session there. And yeah, Tesla super strong. We talk about some of the constituents being super strong. Amazon, like somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, Amazon, look at that. Very, very strong trend. I'm sure if I drew a line on this, it would be very, very easy to distinguish some of these lows right there. Take a look at that. Very clean and steep trend. That's pretty much what we did on Friday on Amazon. I was like, oh boy, we never really took out that 200 mark. We were looking for that 200 Friday morning. No, doesn't really come in, and then fades off of it all day. Today reclaims a bit of a reversion on a multi-day there, as it's reverting almost 100% of the move that we did to the downside back to the upside on that we did on Friday, happening here right now on Monday. Again, it's going to be a shortened week as well, so interesting. I'm looking for interesting price action to kind of execute off of. Let's see if this trend breaks, or we hold some of this trend going into the end of the day here on Amazon as well. What's going on?
It's actually happening.
It's happening.
AMC is moving a little bit. It's only up 2%, but hey man, it's over $5. That's not nothing. Friday's high, it just broke out the top. There haven't been any ridiculous parabolic moves on AMC, but hey, there's 1 step, 2 steps, whatever. Not gonna count the steps. You guys know what's going to the upside. It's multiple days. It's holding that 50 period. Just nothing extraordinary out of any of these moves, and I don't wonder, now that you're above, this chart's gonna load out a little bit more, now that you're above this like 510, like does it make that final push? 550 is the big level, so you have room to go. I think it's like a gentle trend. In a gentle trend, you wanna buy dips on a gentle trend upside. Oh yeah, GameStop, I was gonna mention GameStop, but eyes on AMC. Good luck to anyone that's in that long. GameStop's doing that thing where it bounces off VWAP in the afternoon, so, you know, VWAP bounce. We shorted earlier. That was a nice out. That kind of sucks. But look, bouncing off VWAP a couple times. I don't know if we're going to get it a third time off of VWAP, but if it breaks out the high, I'm holding through the break, looking to dip back into VWAP here on GME. Looking pretty strong. We already talked about Dell. Tesla, maybe this is a dip. We'll see. This is a 3-minute chart here I have up, so you're up here for about 10 minutes or so before pulling back off 213. Could get a little bit of a retrace into 212. I'm just looking for some kind of a curl where we can buy a dip. Super strong name today, 7.5% to the good. And we didn't mention this, but that's not bad. Rivian up 8% today. Count them, that's all green on the 3. Since holding VWAP, it's really accelerating through the high. Now, I understand Tesla it's having a fantastic day, but this is just different. The trend that you see up, the last little push here on Rivian is really accelerating. It's got that short float. There's about 150,000 shares on this $14.50 level, which is sitting there right now. So I'd be inclined to let it fail that break. You know, you've seen some trouble with this 14.5 level before, most notably on Friday on the way back through. But if it fails that break, maybe look for a dip back into the quarters. Rivian, percent-wise, now better than Tesla, although Tesla has something to say about it, I think.
Yeah, Tesla taking a little bit of a pullback here, so I don't know what that does smell good, doesn't it?
So
yeah,
good.
It smells really good. Chicken and waffles. Okay,
Oh,
nice,
hell
nice.
no. Oh, snap. Oh, wow.
Shout out
choice.
Yo, Adara got chicken and waffles. Are you oh
I
my
got,
goodness. Why didn't I get
got,
chicken and
something
waffles?
from them as well.
It's a-
got the steak and cheese.
It's a Canadian holiday today, right? So usually we have a caterer does lunch and what's for lunch. We usually get a salad and there's like whatever's on the trading floor, but everyone has to figure out their own thing today because the caterer doesn't send us food on Canada Day.
Yes.
So everyone got their own thing. Now me, I just had some creatively enough, Neil ate Popeye's chicken today. But chicken and waffles, and it smells so good.
Yeah, it smells great.
Like I wish all of you could actually just get the waft that I'm having right now. Like, oh my goodness.
The waff of the waffles. Yes.
So good. Let's find some trades. Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. So a little bit of a dip happening. Nvidia, Tesla's pulling back in. That was the other name we're mentioning. But I do feel as if in the afternoon, I just want to gravitate to the one that's moving the most. And the last move on Rivian was a bigger move than Tesla. So that's where my intention is. I have GameStop, picking that over AMC. That we'll see if that's the right decision or the wrong one. But Rivian, if we get back into that double top high, 1435, look for some kind of a dip buy here in Rivian. Yeah, the Popeyes was delicious too, but hindsight's always 2020. But I think I dropped the ball on that one. I don't even know where you get chicken and waffles around here.
Yeah, it's a yeah.
Aviva does
The
chicken and waffles.
place-
I've eaten at that place
Yeah,
3
they do.
times. They do chicken and waffles there.
Yeah.
So there's like this, but it's like it's a vegan brunch. Yeah.
They have an extensive vegan menu. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. They've recently changed their menu. I'll tell you this right now, because when I went there the first 2 times, like the menu that you open, it's like vegan, 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 vegan. At the back, there's like all the regular stuff, and now they've changed it, so it's like a more normal menu. But let's just to be honest, like I didn't even notice that they had chicken and waffles, and I've eaten there 3 times. I'm just saying. Their Montreal smoked meat sandwiches.
Smells great.
Oh my goodness, their food is so good. I don't understand how they're not packed every single day at lunch. It's just right around the corner from us.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. I got some of that as well. Not the chicken and waffles though. I think I got the Philly cheesesteak. That was pretty good. Kind of filling there. Didn't necessarily finish the whole thing, but
You see Nike?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm seeing Nike. I stopped out of Nike a while back for break even. I was a point in the money, and I was talking to Brankles in the back and Max, and he was just like, "Yeah, you're a point in the money on Nike. You got to take some off, buddy." And I'm like, yeah, I know. Definitely got to make better decisions there. But I got out exactly where I'm like, yeah, if it gets up to this point, I don't want to be short anymore, and take a look at that. Short no more is definitely the right idea here on Nike, as it's straight to the upside here. I'm looking at prior day levels as we pull some of this chart in right here. You can see that it sold off quite aggressively the day before. Let me take this view up out of the way here. But look at this consolidation high, 78s, 77s. Again, we saw what the kind of action that happened at that 76, and that was the idea for the short. But when that 76 comes right back in, or any sort of strength that would suggest a 76 test, which is what I was looking for, a prior high break of this 75 half level, I'm just like, all right, well, I don't want to necessarily get involved, because if this thing is to melt up, it is on SSR, which again, you can see, look at this steady buying that's been happening on Nike. So that quadrunk that we had from earnings day 1 is getting aggressively bought right back up. I wouldn't call it that aggressive, but again, this can definitely be very, I guess, painful if you're trying to short into these pops here, as it's just a grind up, nice, slow, and steady to the upside. 77.05s being the high as of right now. So let's see if that selling kind of steps back in at any point, or do we just wipe right back up? We were talking about how this has been, or prior day was one of the worst days of in terms of trading to the downside in Nike's history. They're coming all the way from a test of 100 on the earnings reaction, and then pulling all the way in, almost 25 points, all the way down to 74 and some change there. So are we bound for a little bit of a rebound? Perhaps. If it's going to do it, I do want to stay patient, and I do want to respect the action there. Again, on an SSR name that's grinding up without any relief, I don't necessarily want to stay short on it unless and until there's a distinct change in behavior. Here comes the 20 thou back again on the NQ. Oh boy, this is definitely a magnet to me.
That Nike 77 level, though, if it were to turn here, that's kind of
it's looking like
kind of the spot. Look, GameStop just got to the high again, and just right at that 23.60 level, it just seems like it wants to turn around. So it's kind of like put up or shut up. If it can't hold 50s, I jump out of it, maybe move to the next thing that's going to go. And it might be a breakout on this stock by itself. We can always respect that. Like if it wants to take out the high and just go churning, then it can just be a double top takeout. But if we break this consolidation, I didn't buy the last dip thinking we get VWAP a third time, but if we get VWAP again, that means I'll have taken the profit out of this one. Rivian does not seem to want, Tesla pulled back to 212, that's first. Yeah. But Rivian doesn't seem to want to pull back.
Market pulling back.
So yeah, the market's pulling back too. You know what? Let me get off the bid. Let's let it fall there. Like you should always, a lot of times I'll sit on the bid in front of the level I'm anticipating that it bounces. It's a bad habit because you just want that order. Sometimes you put like a small amount there so you get the fill and that acts as your alert. But I feel like if you have the level 2 up and that's the stock you're watching, you don't have to worry about that. Like we're going to get it. No worries there. But I'm looking at that Nike and actually thinking this can be a shortable level. Like when I zoomed it out, if it sets up and gives me like a lower high to work off of, I've only been short Nike today. At the open, that obviously the 76, but we already talked about it. The 77 level was exactly where you wanted it, where things consolidated and broke down. Like at the open on Friday was a 77 bottom, and then a consolidation drop that was huge there for Nike. So this would be the spot that I would look for a turn on Nike. Yeah, there comes that GameStop back through 23.49. So make sure we rang the register there. If it breaks out the high, we can always get another long, or I'm going to be back on the bid at VWAP. But I'm going to take my shot at Nike, showing a little bit of weakness here at that key sell price. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if we take out the high, it's kind of an easy out if I can get in the 90s, and we don't have to carry it that far. And I said this morning, when it was if it had just popped immediately at 930 in the 77, I was going to short it under those circumstances at that price. So I'll take a shot now. But it's just above 77 where the stop will be, and no fighting it. Right? Like you short it here off a lower high. It either holds or it doesn't. That's a binary trade for me. And yeah, Rivian is not going to dip. I guess we're going to hunt the breakout on Rivian.
Yeah, that break.
It's not dipping.
That breakdown of trend kind of coming in potentially on Nike. I do see that 77, and then look at the market as well. The market kind of pulled right back into this bit of a consolidation we've been doing for the past few hours here from, what is this, about around 1 o'clock. We did start going sideways a little bit earlier, around 12:30. But yeah, kind of sideways chop action, attempt to break the highs, attempt to break the lows, can't really get anywhere, and then that 20 thou comes right back in. So on that pullback off of those the clip of the highs there, and the pullback off of this strength that Tesla had, all the way from 209s to 213s and some change, a little bit of a break in the micro trend there happening as of right now. Let's see if we can kind of push a little bit lower, or is Tesla going to be super strong going into the end of the day? Like I said, a little bit in ludicrous mode on Tesla as of right now. But taking a look at Amazon as well, we kind of defined some of this trend. It's starting to slow down, starting to break a little bit right underneath that 198 level where these sellers kind of keep on coming back in, just shy of 200. So let's see, is Amazon poised for that 200 break? Eventually, yeah, sure, probably. But as of right now, if the market's going to take a little bit of a pullback after pretty much Amazon has bid up, only pretty much bid up all day from 192.80s at the low to 198.30s at the high. So very, very strong on the day is Amazon. Can we take a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a breather? I have VWAP on the 15-minute all the way down at 195.80s. It's about a point and a half roughly from where we're trading as of right now. And that kind of confluences with an end-of-day consolidation high, kind of pop high right here at that 195.60s as well. So let's see if we can kind of pull in. Again, market dictating, price action dictating. If we're going to break the trend, how much further are we going to go? Can we come down to VWAP is the question I'm asking. I'm short a little bit of Tesla here, and I guess the Uber long is working out for now. But we'll see how much further that.
Where's that Uber long from? 69.61.
69.60s, yeah. So I did I took a little bit of the break of the trend there. It was sold off quite aggressively throughout the day on Uber. Here, let me pull up the chart as I'm speaking of it right here. So you look at that. So very, very aggressive selling in the morning session, breaks the trend, starts to make higher lows and higher highs, attempting for a push back up into VWAP. And now we've held VWAP quite nicely here, also confluencing with some of this prior action as well. So let's see what we got in store on Uber.
So basically caught the bottom on Uber.
Perhaps. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
To break a trend. Not catching bottoms anywhere else.
No, I'm just saying, like, hey, man. No, I didn't notice. Look, it is what it is. But it's like, I almost didn't notice the Uber trade. You know, it's like the line in, what was it, Armageddon, when they're in the briefing. Have you seen the movie Armageddon?
I'm pretty sure I have. Yes.
Oh.
I got to see this. You know what? I'm like a visual person. I'm not really.
Animal crackers.
I mean, the big ass asteroid coming to kill the Earth. There's two of them. There's like Deep Impact and Armageddon. Armageddon's a big blockbuster crap one, and then Deep Impact is.
They go to the core. They go to the. Is that the? Oh no, that's
like,
Journey to the Core.
That's literally called The Core.
Yeah, something like that.
You're thinking of the movie The Core, where they go to the core.
That was a good one. Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah,
no, there's this scene, but there's a scene in Armageddon where they're briefing them on the message, and they're like, what's the environment going to be like on the asteroid? And he's like, explosive outgases, this, and all kinds of. They drop a bunch of science words that who cares. And then I think it's like, is it Owen Wilson, his character? Whatever. And he just goes, so scariest environment possible. You could have just said that. Because just all this other nonsense, just tell them, like, they're not astronauts, man. Like, so essentially that's all I'm getting at for the Uber trade. Yeah. Caught the absolute, like, yeah, long the low of the day on Uber. It's just that simple. Uber drops $4, long the low of the day on Uber. Obviously that's going to be a good look. But look at that double bottom. There's a breakout. Do not try to catch the knife.
No.
Let it bounce. And if it bounces, and it bounces again, like how much easier is it to take a trade like that, where you're breaking out after showing you a bottom, you can get out at that low, 25 cents worth of risk, than it is, I don't know, to fight some kind of a ridiculous trend. Never fun fighting the trend, and then I say that as I'm short Nike, but whatever. Nike, there's 77. Like there's a false break of 77. There's a lower high in at 92. Just took some out there at 77, so we got 15 pennies. If it puts in another lower high, I'll probably look for another short. There's a lot of room. And I'm not talking about VWAP. I think 76 to 76.20 is a target here. Double top in the opening range, consolidation later. That's about as far as I think this is going to go. So let's short with that one. If it breaks the high, then we don't fight it. Really, Rivian is, okay, now Rivian's trying to pull back. Got to buy the dips and be patient with it. So this is the depth of the dip, 1438 on Rivian. I do have a breakout order if it takes out the high. I am crossing the 55 if it breaks a fresh high of the day, but I am still looking for the dip somewhere into this 1435 range. So we'll let it slide back and see if we can't pick it up. Ooh, I just noticed Apple is at VWAP. Let us know what you guys are doing here.
Up to VWAP? Oh my God.
Maxter just saying, it's a weird for Maxter to say Apple short worked. Because I feel like with a name like Maxter, you're usually going long Apple. I could be wrong about that, but and maybe you're not even, maybe that name's not even referencing like the Mac, but yeah, no worries there, Fabian. But look, Apple, if you're short Apple, definitely working. I think it's at a key level. VWAP is one thing, but when you do this kind of a top at the open range, like 215 and a half, double top it, then there's your breakout. It didn't come at 215, it came at 215 and a half. That's the key price. I think you got to watch out for this. The short definitely looks good for sure. Meridian, I'm thinking the exact same thing on Intel. I was short Intel today, but look what's happening on this stock. I know Intel's boring, but when a range looks like this, like look how tight this wedge is forming on Intel. All I'm saying is when it breaks it, I'm just going to leave those up. When it breaks it, because it's not an if, it's a when. Like when this breaks, either underneath like $29.50 or finally getting above 31 and breaking this trend, you got to be long. I mean, that day I will be long Intel. And if I'm not long Intel, it's because I'm not here. So, with any luck, Intel breaking this channel is not going to coincide with like one of my like doctor follow-ups for the Achilles, because that will be frustrating. Because Intel, like look at this range. The last time we saw a stock do something like this, and it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of adjacent. Like relatively speaking, I would argue that it was when Tesla was just kind of consolidating off 170, these lower highs. Then look at Tesla since it broke this. Like since it broke out of that, there's that line. I'm just drawing it as It's as dirty as possible. It gaps above, away from that trend, pulls back in, hits that trend line, just a local one, just here from April 31st. Lower high, there's the break, dips into the previous trend line, and bye-bye, off to the races. That's the kind of thing you look for. Now, I'm not saying Intel is going to do what Tesla did. Intel is not Tesla. But when something like that happens, you pay attention, you work over to it, and just favor the direction that it's going when it shows you that breakout. And then it starts working for days as a general long. You don't win every day if you're looking for longs on Tesla since that happened, but you're probably going to find some winners when you get an explosive breakout like that. That's what we want to do. Looks like we're getting the reload spot here on Nike. So Nike, I'm on the offer at like 95 here, trying to get a few more shares in front of that high of the day. So Nike at a key 77 level. We'll see if we can get that reload. Should check back in on AMC at some point for all the apes out there. Still going, still at the high of the day, now 3.5%. Is this now better than GameStop? Okay, so it got out of GameStop. It tried to run the high again. It failed it. Now it's back underneath. It is better than GameStop right now. All right, GameStop level 2 is now AMC level 2. It was supposed to be Chewy today. Seriously? No, seriously. Like this morning, weren't we saying it was supposed to be Chewy? Chewy was a great stock. You just had to be short.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not Chewy today. Chewy is going to the gates o' hell.
Yeah, right back to kind of where it came from, maybe even lower there on Chewy. But something that is super strong on the day is Dell Technologies. Oh boy, just straight up 135s. Look at that grab of prior week's lows right here. So prior week's lows right at 135, comes in 134 all the way back up. V-shaped recovery, not only breaking past prior week, I guess not prior week highs just yet, as Monday sold off of 145s, but definitely some solid strength coming on. Now, this is a 30-minute chart, so you can see the strength is definitely there on Dell. I was talking to Neil about this earlier, and I was like, oh boy, look at this. Very strong trend. If this kind of breaks and comes in, are we going to get a push into VWAP? Never really comes in, as the strength is super strong, and it reclaims this 41 and goes sideways, and now attempting for 43s.
But Obi,
as of right now, what's...
So I know you were trading something else at the time, but remember I'm just going to point this out because we were talking about this. Here is Dell. Here's the bottom at 950. We actually draw this line. Here's the bottom at 950. I'm going to draw this for you live. And then there's that higher low. Bang, right there. And if you zoom out, there's 142. So 142, 142, draw a trend line from the two lower highs, and what happens?
Boom.
Like just boom. The second it fails, like it's kind of getting there. The second you actually have the fail under, where this wicks the top, right there, 141.5. Now the problem is 140.5, as you can obviously see. When this hammer candle happened, if you're not watching a stock in certain moments, then it's not always obvious. But believe me when I tell you, if you were looking at the level 2 and you notice this 140.5, like this little rejection after, this little rejection here at about 1121 at 140.5, suffice to say it was pretty obvious it was a buyer in that stock at that price. And I was just not bullish enough in the moment, but you should look at it after the fact. Just hold, 140.5. Sometimes it tells you what the significant price is on Dell, but these trend reversals on these steep moves to the upside. I know we talked about this with Chris Brecher a couple of weeks ago on the aftermarket show, and it was Shopify the other day,
right.
Was fantastic with the turnaround. The good thing about it is anybody that is following the trend to the long, when they're just in hold mode, that's an area where they're going to start to look to get out. Like if it breaks the trend, the first levels of support. Like they might say, if it breaks the trend line, then I want to stop out underneath here or stop out underneath here. And that's where you get these hammer candles. But it's still going up because Dell is spectacular. All right, we got more Nike at 95. That's headed higher. This might not be the one, but it's at the level, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to get back in the 80s here. Got to scalp this one down. The way that this is trending, I think scalp more aggressively and take more profit the way that it's sitting here. So I'm just going to be bidding back in the high 70s and the low 80s because Nike making another run at the high of the day. Ooh, pull back in AMC. Here we go.
Yeah, that Nike. I'm kind of waiting for that Nike. I do want to get back into it there, but you can see I have what is this on my chart? It is I'm pretty sure it's an 8 moving average or a 9 moving average. Let me just make sure here.
I got dollar says it's 9.
Let's see. Oh, right here, indicators. It is a exponential moving average. Or is it volume weighted?
No, you was right. You were on it.
You're right. Sorry, 9. Okay, yeah. So 9. There we go. It is a 9 moving average. Now again, I like to use. I have other charts here as well, which I'm watching a little closer. Yeah, no, it is holding trend. It did kind of go sideways a little bit there, right underneath that 77. Definitely an interesting price, but I am kind of watching it. That 78. A little bit more interesting to me. If it's going to continue to trickle up on an SSR like this, I do want to stay a little bit patient there. I do want to stay a little bit patient with Nike. Now again, clearly the long idea off of the reclaim of 76 is working out really, really well. And then just looking left at the chart, 78 was one of the first areas where on the off of the open there. The prior trading day, we had a little bit of trouble in and around that, and we're just headed straight up. So if there's no significant break of trend here, I don't necessarily want to get involved with the Nike. Again, like I said, kind of fumbled the trade, being a point in the money off of these 76 highs and not covering anything in and around the 75, and it reclaims view up and then pushes into fresh highs of day as well. Yeah, no, let us know in the chat what you guys are trading. I'm kind of looking at that as well. People talking about Mara. I know that Sharif was talking about Mara as well. Yeah, up over 13%, Neil. Crazy.
It's all right. I mean, it's okay.
What's Bitcoin up to?
It's like 13% to the upside. I think the real story, like we always talk about, like it's not what's happened. You can't go back in time and just, hey, let's all just be long Mara at $20 or $21. Like that's all well and good. We review trades and all that kind of good stuff. And like if I have hindsight, of course we should have been long on Mara dipping back into 20.5 or breaking out 21 that second time. It's just at 23, and I've had this 23 marked off for a while. And it's difficult for me to look at this level and not want to short it the first time through. Yeah. So you're about 30, 40 cents away. That's going to be a level to short for me. If it breaks 23 even, fine. Work the long that way. There's plenty of room for it to get there. It already dipped into previous highs. But Rivian's starting to pull back in. I am in that Nike. That was the last thing we took, Nike, the 77 level as well. But that 23 on Mara, I've been kind of looking at that as a big-time resistance for kind of at least the last month. Maybe it was even a little bit longer than a month. So if we get there, I'm still thinking short on MARA. And just for reference, I know sometimes you can't really, it's hard to see like OB's charts. You have just the ES, Nike, and Tesla, the three things that you have up on your chart. And the NASDAQ. Yeah. So it's futures, Nike, and Tesla. Those are the ones that I know you're watching. And we'll talk about all kinds of different names. Yatube37 likes some Coinbase. I mean, Coinbase is doing okay, but it's half of the move on Mara. Mara is the real one here today. It's a good breakout for Coinbase. The difference between Coinbase and Mara would be Coinbase it's not a blue sky setup, but at least it's got a heck of a lot more room till it gets to the top or any significant top. I think if it gets to 36, you got like a more significant high at 242 in here on Coinbase. And it's not an insignificant difference in terms of where it can go. I just can't look at Mara in that 23. You wait for a key level, you put it on, it works or it doesn't work, but if you don't trade it, you can't live with yourself. Right? Like when a level's that significant, same thing like the 50 period on Mara, when it dips into the 50 period, you try longs. When it gets to 23, you try short. So that's where I'm at with MARA. Yeah, here comes AMC.
Yeah, I guess you know what? I know that Neil reminded me earlier to kind of make the thing a little bit bigger here. So I will kind of get on that right here. Let's see if that's right there. That should be good enough to kind of see. I like to keep my the names of the tickers at the bottoms here. You can see it here as well on Tesla. So let me just quickly change that one up right here. Just make it a tiny bit bigger. So yeah, you guys can see it a little bit easier as well. So it just talks about the name of the ticker, how much up or down we are on the day, and then in terms of points as well, about 13 points, 14 points to the upside, 7% increase on Tesla, and then same here with Nike. This is the ES and this is the NQ. And yeah, so hopefully you guys can see it a little bit better there as of right now. Tesla pulling back into this prior consolidation area as well. Some of these wick highs right here at that 211.50 mark. I'm seeing, so was that actually 211.50? Yeah, 211.54 is the prior high of day, and we came in to almost the level right here. What's the low of the candle right here? 211.54, so exactly on top of prior high a day, and then we're catching a little bit of a bounce here, but look at the ES and the NQ pushing a little red to the bottom end of this consolidation we've been talking about. Been consolidating here since about 11:30, 12 o'clock, pretty much sideways in and around that 20,000 mark. But yeah, I'm looking for the next trade. What is the next trade? I have no idea just yet. I know that Nike's super strong.
Nike, baby.
I was looking at McDonald's as well. McDonald's sold off quite aggressively prior day, and we did some more selling off.
Big Mac or quarter pounder?
This morning, I would go with the Big Mac.
Okay.
Is that? Yes.
No, that's the right answer.
Okay.
That's the
all
right
right.
answer. I don't want to hear, like,
Can I
don't get me wrong,
pass?
I have nothing against the quarter pounder. Like, when they have a deal on the quarter
right.
pounder, like, sometimes they do like a 2-for-1 action, I'll get that. But no, I'm a Big Mac guy all day, every day. I was letting you get that chart up just very quickly. Nike reload in front of 77 at 95, takes them out at 80s, got a bid at the 60 level as well. AMC, all right, I got cheeky and got on the midpoint here. Because look, like AMC is a $5 stock. So it's trading with a bottom at 511. And there's no size there. There's just like, I don't know, like 15,000 shares on the bid, maybe 25,000 at 10. It's not a huge amount on the bid, but it wasn't moving. So I just took the midpoint. I ended up getting 511 half. So like, I know it'll show, yeah, it shows 512. And you'll see my fill is right in here at 511 half. So I just used like a bats midpoint. I was able to get a midpoint fill on AMC buying the dip. It's going to be pretty tight risk. You know, if it loses 10, I just get out. And if it gets back to the high of the day, great. You risk 2 cents. Like, I like that risk to reward. The high of the day is sitting at like 516, 515, 516. So it's not as if you're expecting, monster moves in here. I'm going to get offers at the actual top. And if it either holds a 10, 10's now on the bid, it just has to hold out. So I picked this over dip buying GameStop just because of the relative strength. Like, this is AMC, and then GME kind of looks like that. Whereas AMC was kind of holding that breakout trade. GameStop didn't really see a reload, couldn't hold through the high of the day break after I got out. So we kind of pivoted over. Relatively small risk in terms of risk to reward, just a couple of cents there. But it's only a $5 stock with the range on the day of about 30 cents total. So just got to respect that. So we got a little bit of that. Dell is still cruising. I don't see, it's just such an gentle upward trend in Dell. Now up at that 143, it's got a double top. So if it cannot hold on to this double top, we might have to jump out of it. So 143.20 has already been tagged twice. If it doesn't hold on to 142, just underneath 142 high, I'll probably jump out of Dell. When the market's not going anywhere and making lower highs, I don't like this double top action. If I was shorting, I would probably be considering whether I wanted a reversal play on Dell around these prices anyway, so we'll make sure we lock it in. Always look for these kind of reversal levels. So you break the high, so you break that double bottom, break out the high, then you kind of set a new trend. Let me zoom in so it's a little bit easier to see. You kind of set off a new trend line, and then that little trend line, I'm just wondering if it's going to break that trend, and I shouldn't dip out of it when it does. Let's go to Brendan.
Happy to have Zefiro Methane back with us this afternoon. If you go back to April, the company debuted on the CBO Canada exchange under the ticker ZEFI. At that time, we had the CEO, Talal Debs, with us in studio. But today we're happy to have Tina Rain, Chief Commercial Officer of Zefiro, joining us to tell us a little bit more about the company and also give us an update on how things have gone since April. It's great to see you, first of all. Tina, welcome.
All right. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem. If anyone was maybe absent or doing something else that day back in April when we had the IPO, again, anyone looking at ZEFI here on the CBO exchange in Canada, give us an overview here of the company activities, where we're involved, what spaces included here.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So Zefiro Methane is an environmental services company, and we specialize in reducing methane emissions, particularly at the wellhead of old orphan oil and gas wells. And my team, we focus on innovative carbon credit solutions, really deriving from these projects that we're doing in the US. And these are projects that are permanently leaking oil and gas. The oil and gas wells are leaking methane, toxic methane. And experts are estimating that there are over 4 million of these sites, can you believe that, spread throughout the US. Certainly the potential to scale the business and a real market need for a commercial solution to address this. And that's what we're looking at. It really affects communities on the ground. This is a real legacy public health issue.
Carbon credits there. Talk a little bit about the commercial blueprint here and some of the specific products that the company is offering around that.
Sure. So we're really looking at innovative solutions on the environmental services side. And something that's important to us is a no morals hazard. Like the money goes directly to the projects. It doesn't go back to further oil and gas production. When it also, in addition to that, it's deploying no open hole work and exclusively focusing on the field activities and well retirement services, which is a part of our offering. And then really focusing on the ESG commercial blueprint to generate the revenue from the ESG side. You really creating high quality, profitable plugging and high quality carbon offsets, which is something that's really missing and has great demand in the market right now, in the carbon market.
What is that? Give us a little bit of detail maybe or insight into that market in general. What would you describe the demand at this point or the characteristics of that carbon marketplace?
Yeah, sure. So the carbon markets have had some negative press lately, and that's because more and more companies are really looking at, are the offsets high quality? And that's really the buyers, the demand side. They're saying, we want high quality offsets. We want to know that it has an impact and it makes a difference at the community level. We're looking at different types of offsets, including abatement. We're also looking at biochar downhole. So we're trying to do really innovative things. And unlike other providers in the space, that's a central component to what we're doing. We want to make sure the offsets are high quality. We've compiled this unique collection of innovative product offerings due to the fact that our on-the-ground teams and our plugging teams have had years and years of experience. And our carbon markets team has also been in the market for collectively over 35 years.
Tina, there's been a lot of questions raised in the past by specific analysts or in general about the legitimacy of this market in general. How would you respond to some of those concerns and the intentions behind it?
Yeah, what's interesting is I think that those who speak negatively about carbon markets, they're not really understanding that these products are not an IOU to do environmental good at a later date. It's really an investment directly in the project, creating the carbon offsets. And without that direct investment, you can't make the immediate difference at the community level. So when we look at projects, we really look at what is the impact at the community level, what ESG goals are we trying to meet. Also, a lot of skeptics, they forget that this is not a marketplace that's driven by compliance. This is participants that are taking voluntary action, and by attacking the carbon offsets, they're attacking people that are actually seeking a cleaner future and trying to have direct impact.
Where do you see Zefiro's role then within that? Where does the company actually fit in that space?
Yeah, so I mean, that's really our revenue growth is to find high quality projects and bring that to market. That's really what the market is missing right now, and that's what the market is demanding. And in fact, since I've been on board, I've been really excited about the level of engagement that we've gotten from the market, just in terms of the types of organizations that have wanted to talk to us about buying offsets. Big commodity houses, banks, big oil and gas, and we're really excited about that. We have made an announcement with one of our counterparties, Mercuria Energy, as part of our customer base. We have several other announcements that are just around the corner, so stay tuned for that.
As we heard, much needed service and lots of work, unlimited almost in potential as far as improving these wells and capping these wells, as you were mentioning, to begin with in these communities. So best of luck. Again, ZEFI, guys, on the CBOE exchange here in Toronto. Tina Raines, Chief Commercial Officer of Zefiro Methane. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on there, Tina. And like and we said this the first time we had them. It's a fantastic project. You always love. It's something that Elon Musk actually says a lot. Like, if you want to change the world for the good, start a company that will do something positive. And having that incentive can only make things better. So I think it's a great company. And thank you so much for coming on there, Tina. We appreciate you. The market might not be doing heavily. Oh, by the way, that ZEFI over there on the CBOE. Today's a Canadian holiday, so if you pull up that quote, you're going to not see it moving today, obviously. I'll be back intact tomorrow. But the market, and I'm talking about the NASDAQ here. I know you look at the SPY and the ES. I'm usually looking at the NASDAQ. You're starting to pull back into 20,000, but it's kind of like this up and down dance. And we're converging. Like, we've made a break of the 20 that couldn't get past 50s, a break under that can't get past like 1975. So you really have to pick your spots. I'm almost at target here on Dell, the 144. As a matter of fact, I now have a trail underneath 143.5. And this is something Obi and I were just discussing. That trend line break, I'm going to add this as like an idea to the playbook. Because a lot of times you look at that big steep trend line break at a resistance level, but look at what happens. The spot where it would reject that, where here, it was resistance on that rejection of 142. Doesn't even bother with it on Friday, but suddenly it's like dip, hold, dip, hold, dip, hold, dip, hold. Like, this should be a breakout. It's one thing to take the long when it breaks 142 and then consolidates above 142. That's one thing. But when it just breaks this out, you could be long at 141.5 here. And that's a trade that should be on next time. So anyways, just an idea there for Dell. It's almost at my target in front of 144. Rivian broke trend, could not hold, like it didn't break that 14.5 level, couldn't do it. It tried to dip, ends up losing the previous high, so a little bit of a head and shoulders action. So I just took it short underneath here in the 30s, got some out at 25. I'm bidding down into VWAP. Thought I was bidding more down into VWAP there. We're going to bid down into VWAP on Rivian. I wanted this to hold on strength. Instead, it just set up a head and shoulders short trade. So we got Rivian working. Nike's the one we have to be worried about. AMC, we grabbed that long, tag 14, 15, but not the high of the day 16. So we got 11 halves. We got 14s and 15s. We're just risking to underneath 10. If it breaks out the top, I hold a piece of it. And just hold on the last little piece and see if it wants to continue. So just ring the register. If you got a range-bound day, have your targets to take, and you should be absolutely fine. The only one that could turn into a loss, I'd say, is Nike. So we did scalp Nike twice, but Nike seems to want to run the high of the day. I'm not reloading it a third time. We already took it a couple times here. We're able to get 15 pennies on it. Just feels like Nike wants this top, and we'll let it take the top. The other ones that we got into are working, so why reload the one that isn't? That doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me. As they say in the Freedom and Wealth podcast, episode 5, the Kevin O'Leary edition, check it out every Saturday, but you can scan it right now and listen to it on the way home. Avoid the distractions. And if you're trying to avoid distraction and stay focused, that was in episode 4, from a trading sense, a lot of times it can mean don't necessarily keep going back to the well on the stock that isn't doing what you want. While it's working, fine. But when it stops working and there's other things that are, you can get away from it and move on to something else. As a matter of fact, you should do that. So that's what we're going to do here. Not going to reload this third time here on Nike. It's not like this is going to turn into a losing trade, but there's no need to go back and add more to it when it's clearly not breaking this trend. At least not yet anyways.
Yeah, I gotta start recording this screen here up at the desk, I think, because like I got aggressive on what looked like a decent pullback here underneath 213, and it ended up working out. You can see that I tried it a little bit aggressively earlier on underneath high a day there, and didn't really work out so well. But now it does work out, and I'm like, oh, 211s, the rebid through 211s. I don't want to be around as the selling kind of stops. But it pops, can't even make the half, and then drops back down. So I definitely kind of want to, again, I don't trade Tesla very often, but it is something I do want to start getting a little familiar with. As again, we talk about like having more risk, so you can kind of do some more things in terms of, I guess, getting comfortable doing certain things. And yeah, higher price ticker and higher volatility on Tesla is definitely enticing with a little bit more risk, but still trying to make the same, if not just as good decisions on it, regardless of share size there. So I was like, all right, cool. Have the entry above 212 halves. Get more on the break of 212, get more going into 211 halves, get more going into 211s, and it goes to 210 halves. But on the rebid, I get a little lost in the sauce there. I'm like, all right, I don't necessarily even give it back to break even, and it goes an extra 60 pennies further. But again, reason for getting the cover out was look at these tops right here. These tops were a little distinct, almost a triple top happening here at that 211 mark. And if we come down and we catch a little bit of a bid on that 211, I don't necessarily want to get involved. But now the fact that we tested it, we watched it a bit, now we're trading below 211s, and the market, I guess it was kind of bidding down earlier, but now it's gone back to pushing right back up. So we're pretty much sideways there, and Tesla seems like it is losing some of that. There it goes, 210 halves coming right back in. Oh boy, can't be getting too much FOMO there, Neil. 210s incoming on Tesla. Let's see what the next level is. 209s. And that happens to be where VWAP has kind of crawled up into. VWAP earlier being 206s, 207s, and now just shy of 209, only about a point away there on Tesla. So you can see this consolidation earlier as well, a little bit of a double bottom happening on 209 before blasting up to 213. So definitely going to be taking some players out if we break back below that 209, and then VWAP as well. So it seems like the short idea that I did finally have started to work. Obviously, not every short idea worked too well, as I got stopped out a couple times, flip along a little bit there, and then get re-involved here on the break of trend. But the market's pushing back up. What else is going on here? Softy attempting for highs. Amazon still super strong. Dell is continuing to make fresh highs there, and Nvidia about to make some fresh highs as well. What's going on, Adara?
Paramount pushing higher here, nice little pop, trying to come back and find a bit of support at this previous resistance area just above the $10 level. CNBC reporting that Paramount is apparently in talks to explore a Paramount Plus merger with Max. So WBD and PARA reportedly in talks to merge their streaming segments, according to this CNBC report here. So keep an eye on PARA and WBD, guys.
Ooh, that is some legitimate volume on Paramount, but it can't get past VWAP. Oh, still down 2% on the day. I wish the best for all the Paramount shareholders. I think they got a raw deal because there were deals that could have been had, and if you really just care about the shareholders, that should have gone a different way. And I feel for any of the shareholders that kind of wanted that cash deal, original cash deal. But it is what it is. We got to move on to the next. So we got lucky on Nike, I think. But Rivian, I might have missed a reload at that 1435. It's still pulling right back into 1420. You'll see I'm no longer in Dell. Why is it Dell used to be on the NASDAQ. It had to be. Because there's something in my brain. Every time I have typed in Dell today, I have gone NQ. I mean, literally every time. I'm trading the stock. I don't know what it is. It just had to be on the NASDAQ before. But 144 just came in there, tagged it, broke it. It's still going to the upside. The trend is your friend till the end when it bends. But look at Dell. That's the 50 period, hugging it like a glove, and then breaking it out today. You know that reference?
No.
Oh, no? Really?
I mean, I've heard like a glove before.
Does that help? Canadian comedian? Very, very famous. Okay. No, nothing. It's fun. No, it's fine. I don't know. Maybe I was trying to see if I could get a.
Is it Jim Carrey? Right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Boom, Obi.
I know
It
it's
is
in there
Ace-
somewhere.
Ace
but, yeah.
Ventura.
Yes.
Pet
Okay.
Detective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Classic. Classic.
Hell to the.
Yeah.
That is a case of a movie that I promise you, like a bunch of people read that script and are like, "What the ass is this
what
character?
is
This
going on?"
doesn't work." Jim Carrey reads and is like, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah.
And then nobody could have done that role. Like sometimes it's just there's the right comedian, like Dumb and Dumber. And no, it's not gonna work if it's not Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. But that's the Ace Ventura. It's ridiculous. It's silly. In my head, I'm picturing Dan Marino in that movie, and even he's cracking me up. But Dell. I don't know why. I got out of Dell, 144. That's the only thing I was going to get at. But yeah, absolutely strong move to the upside there. Great movie. I got to rewatch that at some point.
I think I haven't seen all of his movies. Of course, The Mask is up there, but
Ace Ventura is better.
Ace Ventura is pretty good as well. I like The Truman Show. Yeah. The Truman Show is definitely
that is the single best Jim Carrey movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine, Adara and Fabian are both mentioning Eternal Sunshine. I would put that at 2, but I think Truman Show is maybe one of the most underrated films. Like it's a comedy and it's funny, but really when you watch it the second time, this is a really good social commentary. It's a great performance as well. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic one there. There was something else I was going to get. Oh, it was Rivian. I'll talk Nike in a second, but Rivian pulling back in. I am on the bid, but I want to respect. I had the 15-minute up. That's why I was going to the 15-minute. I want to respect this range. On Friday, you had this 14 to 14.20. Now it's kind of dipping into this 14 to 14.20. I want to make sure we're scalping into that range, which is what we're doing. And on Nike, on that 15-minute, it's completely useless to look at the 15-minute. It went to 77 again. Remember I said I'm not going to reload Nike at 77? Well, reloading Nike at 77 certainly would have worked. We're going to get the 80s again on Nike. Yeah. Now I'm not bidding it again. If it breaks this to the downside, I think you could see 76 half, maybe something even deeper. So pretty much everything is working, although we are done with our Dell trade. It seems like AMC kind of just got to that high of the day and said no more. This is AMC. NM, I don't know why that's always like the first market to pop. So it got right to the high of the day at 516. Not really doing much of anything else. I'm not really going to move the stop. If it gets underneath 10, we just get out. I'm long at 11.5 for those of you that weren't listening in that moment. Darwin, Batman Forever is terrible. Mark L, Liar, Liar. Liar, Liar is a solid 6.5 out of 10. I'll give it that. I don't know. I know some people really like Liar, Liar. That wasn't one of my favorite films. I have to for Jim Carrey, anyways. But everything for Jim Carrey. Hopefully, my last comment about Jim Carrey, and we'll keep it to the markets. In Living Color, and if you've never seen In Living Color, then believe me, you're missing out. If you think Chappelle's Show was good, then you probably would like In Living Color. If you like Key and Peele, you probably like In Living Color. If you think Jim Carrey is a great comedian, you will absolutely love In Living Color. If you think Damon Wayans and the Wayans brothers all of the Wayans brothers are fun, you'll love In Living Color. And it was Fire Marshal Bill that's the first character most people fell in love with for Jim Carrey. So if you've never seen Fire Marshal Bill, I would do an impression, but I can't. So just go look it up when you get the opportunity. He was brilliant, but that was one of his absolute best. Oh my!
I got my just with that conversation, like my list of movies to watch, I think grew by like another 5.
It should.
Yeah.
You're young, Obi.
I finally watched the first Beverly Hills Cop over the weekend.
You just watched that now?
Yeah. It was like what 1984. I was like, okay, cool, let's watch that.
Shakedown, breakdown. You're busted for not having seen that. That is the joint.
It was. I guess it was okay. I know there's like 3 others.
It was okay.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was
I
all
mean,
right.
it was all right. I mean, it was good, but I don't think.
It's got Damon Wayans and okay, so Damon Wayans is in the second one, my bad. But
Yeah, maybe I gotta watch the second one, maybe.
okay, so the other thing
there's
too
like 3 or
is
4.
the original. Most people don't know this, but if you watch the original Beverly Hills Cop, like Mike Ehrmantraut, the character, the dude that plays Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad and of course Better Call Saul, he's a bad guy in the original Beverly Hills Cop movie, which is
Okay.
pretty legit. Or is it the second one? I always get it mixed up. No, it's the first one. It's the first one. And you'll go back, you'll watch it. It's like, oh, no way. He's in that too. There's so many fantastic moments in that movie. It's not just good. I don't know how this Axel Foley 4th movie is going to go. My guess is
Is it the same? Oh, right.
I think it's
That's
out
his-
this week on Netflix. You
I
guys
think
let
that's
me know.
why. Well, that's why I might have watched it, because I'm like, oh, there's a new one coming
Yeah.
out. Might as well watch the first one, you know?
It's one of those, like, the first one's good, the second one's good, the third one, kind of like Godfather 3 was not
Yeah.
that good, and the fact that you'd even do a 4th, Godfather had this sense to not make a 4th movie. I feel like now they just want to make they'll just make anything at this point.
How do you feel about the Matrix movies?
I love the first Matrix.
Absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
I think they kind of start stretching it a bit, pushing forward.
You know the new
but
one? I got halfway through the new one.
I don't think
Kind of
I've
got
seen
bored and didn't
Yeah.
finish it, and now it's like a movie that I've just seen half of. So that probably
I have a
tells
bunch
you
of
my
those,
thoughts
yeah.
on it. And I'm a big science fiction guy, so the fact
I think
that
the first
couldn't even
trilogy-
finish it.
The trilogy was nice.
Visionary. It was brilliant. It was new.
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
fresh. All that good stuff.
The scenes were iconic in
Yes.
the industry, right? But yeah, no, Matrix, the first one, one of my favorite movies for sure.
So the question is,
up?
are we taking a 125 break on Nvidia? Because this looks spicy. It's not there yet. I just think it has to
Okay.
take out 125. So the answer is yes. Well, no, for me it is. Whatever. Like it was a rhetorical question. I wasn't really. Yeah, that was more of like one of those. No, we're taking a 125 break. The more I actually look at this. So if I wanted Rivian to break the high, it didn't. It turned into a short off that level. I feel like Nvidia is just going to be a 125 break. If we're doing something here, it's take out the top, and then just hope for brass tacks on that one. Let's see what happens. Nike pulling back in. I have no more bids there on Nike. Just see where it goes. Like this is where it bounced a couple times. Let's see where it goes. It could be 76.5 to see out off this 75 level. You got to ring the register at some point, but you know this is one where it was Nike. It was Obi looking at it that made me remember the 77. I've zoomed out way too far there, and 77 was that big drop zone at the open.
Drop zone.
I don't know why. Actually, I know why I did. Drop Zone used to be a ride at Canada's Wonderland.
Yes.
My wife and daughter are spending Canada's Day at Canada's Wonderland while I'm at the office. And I used to work Drop Zone.
Okay, nice.
Oh, I can't tell that story.
It's been a while since I've been to Canada's Wonderland. I was like, was it in? I guess in high school and a decent chunk of undergrad, we had season passes. Like, we would go like every weekend. It was funny. In high school, we'd be like, I guess after school, or if it was like a half day, we would go to Canada's Wonderland just to go on a couple of rides and then just come back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the season pass definitely spoils you. Let's say that.
Well, if you work there, because I work there, you get to go on your off days. You get to go for
Yeah,
free,
fair.
and then you have all the hookups in the world.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we
But
had
don't even get me started
so
about the
many
hookups with all your friends that work there. You know?
It's great.
Yes.
There's other things that are fun about. I'm not going to get into it. Like when you're a teenager in theme parks,
Yeah.
some people go for the ride, some people go for other entertainment. But AMC just came out that 510, so this was the reason why we're scalping into the high of the day. But it caught to the high, couldn't go any further. I just decided not to. I could have moved the stop, and hindsight being 2020, probably should have moved the stop in here. But it finally broke that 10 level. I might be done with it. If I made the wick bottom, it continues to go. It's going to have to break the top to get me back into it. Otherwise, nothing going there. So we like that Nvidia. If it breaks, it's a big if. It could also just fail to break through that high again, and then when just the market continues to do nothing. Dell, which we jumped out of, that's the first time I've actually gotten it right the first time and gotten to New York. This is still holding the high. Dell is a rocket. This stock was at $133 off the open, and now 144. So forget about the fact that it's up 4.5. That's not telling you the story for how ridiculous Dell is. But I'm not chasing it up here. I'm not feeling the short. I feel like the short would be, here, let me draw. I thought I drew this, and then I guess it didn't stay. Like, it would probably have to break this, give it like that trend to here, get underneath 143.5. But I'm not fighting that one. We have a couple of shorts that are still on that I think can be okay. And whether or not we break that high on Nvidia, the 125, it's 320. There's still some time, not a lot of time for a top break. If it's 340 and we haven't broken it, I'm gonna have to get up to the desk at some point for the aftermarket show with Michael Noss and Adara. So I'll cancel that 125 breakout at some point. But Rivian doing okay. The Nike, we've already got most out. And I know you're looking at Tesla.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting.
I feel like
doing some tango with the Tesla, I guess.
Tango?
Yeah.
Tango and cash?
Tesla tango. Tango and cash?
No?
No.
Okay,
No.
that's fine. No, there's movies that I would expect you to know.
Is that the name of the movie?
Tango and Cash is not a movie I would expect you to know.
Okay.
You're too young for that one. How would Adara's like, ooh, I know that. Okay, so Tango and Cash is one of Adara's father's favorite movies. And that's just a reminder of how old I am now. I'm just gonna leave, yeah. That's how you make a brother feel old right there. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen that movie 3 times and that's her dad's favorite movie.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Definitely, if you're mentioning it, it's definitely worth watching there. Yeah, a little bit of a tango here on Tesla. Don't really hold the short to fruition. Comes in 210s, holds quite a little distinctively. So I kind of flip on that. Let's see how well this can work. But we've been holding trend to the downside here, again, with the market coming in as well. Let's see how well this 210 bounces. We've held at 209, and now we're making a relatively higher low above VWAP. That's what I'm looking for right here. Look at that. Sure, the reversion comes in. Can't really get all the way to VWAP, and then holds above prior kind of this. We were talking about that 209. We come into 209 halves. Can't really print that far below that, and then push right back in, looking for a break of this trend now on Tesla. A little bit of choppy action, but above VWAP, holding above VWAP. Every time it tries to revert down to VWAP, it cannot get even that close to VWAP, actually hovering about 50 pennies to a point above it and catching a bid and continuing up. So Tesla super, super strong on the day. Something else to mention, it is breaking out on a higher time frame. So that's something I do have to keep in mind when trying to revert the move or revert the reversion or even go with the trend or what have you. Still trying to figure this ticker out a little bit as well, and the type of strategies I do want to be, I guess, implementing on it. But Nike is doing a bit of a curl there, Neil. So yeah, I do have my eyes on it. Let's see how well this kind of comes in. And I didn't even realize it was 320 there. 320 kind of There's only about 40 minutes left in the trading day as of right now. Here comes 210 once again, as I was talking about it. Straight quadunk to the downside on Tesla in this specific candle. Let's see what we got in store.
I'm going to hit this. Just because I haven't done it in a while.
Like, subscribe, share, show that
Oh, yeah, we stopped hitting those.
There's something seriously wrong with those. Yeah, like
like
those,
laggy?
baby, and like every time I hit the like and subscribe ones, they all stink. What about Sean's? Here, I'm just gonna do it. This is an experiment.
Take this opportunity to like and subscribe to our
See,
YouTube
it's all
channel.
of them.
Oh, okay.
There's lots of bang.
Yeah, they're all the like. I'm not gonna buy. I won't hit mine. I'll save you guys from that. But no, they're all not working. Yeah, we 100% need a reboot. We'll get some new ones out there for you guys. From now on, I make a solemn promise. If you ever see my face in one of those like and subscribe today or just any of those, I'm going to be in character every single time. And I already know what character I want to do for the next one. I just got to get Fabian cornered to shoot it. He's doing the whole day here without Ramin. So he's just been on the 1s and 2s, so I know he's way too busy today. But believe me, I know. I'm not going to do Mr. T again. I'm only going to do characters that I find funny. So if you don't find it funny, that's fine. But it's going to be something that I find funny. What is this? Ricky Peters. I want to see the Neil Bear animation. Oh, this one? This one?
We played that one.
Or the other one. There's another one. I don't like that one. I like this. I like this one. That's the one.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's
so the bear is like, I guess it's more graphically intense. Is that the right word that I'm looking for? Yeah, I guess there's more depth going on with that bear. And if you're feeling a little bearish, you always want a little bit of that depth, don't you? You know.
It's interesting. This is just like when you describe the you spent 5 minutes describing the Uber trade, and I was just like, you're long at the bottom. No, like one of them is good animation and the other is bad animation. So that's just better quality.
Yeah.
And this one, it's just different.
It's different. That's why I didn't want to say good or bad. It's just more graphically intense.
No, Fabian didn't make either one of those. It's just I don't remember who we got to make the bad one. No, it's just a quality difference. That's all. I will leave it at that, and we'll smirk about it. But we are heading to the downside, so let's get it done. 14.12 just hit on Rivian, so that reversal pulling into VWAP nicely. Nike is still coming back into the downside. It being 330, we'll probably stick a fork, at least for now, in the breakout at 125 on Nvidia. I don't know that that's going to happen, but shorts are what they are. Yeah, Nick McGroovy, 3D versus 2D, that's another way that we could have put that one, but 100%. If you like it, that's fine. I know it was not Fei that did that last animation. I really don't know who made the new one. It wasn't Fabian, it was not Fei. I'm not sure. Like maybe we got like somebody off of Fiverr to do that. That's entirely possible. You get what you pay for, right? No, that's bad.
So I guess Fabian, you're saying you're gonna be making the next round of these animations, or what? Okay.
I tested out the voice I'm going to use for mine. I tested it out on my daughter, and she thinks it's great.
So you have this whole thing planned already.
I've had it planned for like months. We just need to find time to be able to do. It's not like there's been a lot of work done.
Curious.
Check out the podcast. A lot of work is going into the podcast, and obviously, when people have time off here and there, like they've been doing a lot of work, and then sort of Fabian will be off the desk working on it, and Ramin's switching by herself, and now Fabian's there by himself. There's just no time to get some of these other things done. Believe me, we're always working on things on the show for you guys. It is what it is. I didn't mean to when you're live and you're talking, we're just sort of like shooting the you-know-what. I didn't mean to take a shot at Fiverr, but I mean, everyone knows the model there, right? Like you get like a bunch of bids. It's like, yeah, we want this done, and you just kind of go with who gives you the best bid. Maybe you're not going to get the best animation. If my brother did it, it'd be hot fire. But he has a job, so unfortunately.
Yeah, you said your brother does animation for.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's worked in TV. So almost like the companies that he's worked for have done TV shows is the best way to put it, right? So it's always contract work. So like last year, the company he's with did like this Christmas special. You wouldn't have seen it, but I watched it and I thought it was pretty cool. He worked on Inspector Gadget. He's done a Canadian show called Bo on the Go, which is like a Canadian version of Dora the Explorer. So that's what he does. It's cool stuff if you like it. No, that's not who it was, Future Eddie. But
I'm curious to know, like your character would it be a movie that I have seen? Is kind of what I'm asking myself. But the probability of that,
yes and no,
might be a little skewed.
It's not strictly from a movie, but everyone will associate it thinking it's from a movie.
Okay.
A lot of people will think I'm doing a comedian you guys, whatever. There's no point talking about it. We'll shoot it when we shoot it. And for me, I did take it from a movie, but most people are going to think it's somebody else. From a skit. Like you'll think it's from a comedian, but really I pulled it from a movie.
Okay.
And someone gave me the idea when they said I looked like the guy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we got to do this. We got to do this soon, Fabian. I'm really curious as to what character Neil has in store for us. This 210. Chopping and churning here on the Tesla as we speak. Look at the futures coming right back in. So like I said, not too much time left in the trading day. I got to keep an eye on the time as well. It is almost 3:30, 3:28 as of right now. Nike is curling. Let's take a quick look. Apple's basically near its highs there. Amazon finally taking a little bit of a pullback, pulling back off of a high a day of 198.30s, trading at 196s as of right now. Here comes some strength. Again, this 210 catching a little bit of a chop here, and I'm sitting right on top of it in and around the area. So let's see what we do going into the close there. But take a look at the futures, man. Like, we've been chopping since, like I said, 12:30. This chart is about an hour. It's an hour behind on I think it's what CMT. Yeah, whatever. It's about an hour behind. So when it says 11:30 at the bottom, it's actually 12:30 there. And look at that rip right back up off of 210. Oh boy, was that some strength pushing right back up in towards these highs, looking pretty weak. I had my finger on the trigger, getting ready to get out of this one, but then it rips right back up for that as the market reclaims that 20,000 mark. Before I continue, we're gonna head over to Adara at the green screen.
Take a look at some of the names on the S&P 500 that made some larger upside and downside moves to go off this holiday shortened week. One of them is going to be LVS here. Big drop here for Las Vegas, seeing some of these other casino-related names. Macau gambling revenue apparently fell to an 8-month low for the month of June. So LVS very much to the downside here on the day. We also have LOW. A lot of these other construction names pretty weak, as mentioned in the morning as well. As you can see, right at 10 a.m., we see this big drop in conjunction with the construction spending data for May, which actually came in lower than expected. There's actually a decrease on a month-over-month basis. So LOW, Lowe's, and some of these other construction-related names taking a hit there. Last but not least, we have Merck, MRK. This one up about 3+%, announcing with Orion that they're going to be mutually exercising this option to convert this one treatment co-commercialization agreement into a global license for Merck. So basically, Merck benefiting from this agreement with Orion for a exclusive global license. So good look for MRK. Quite a few names, though, making some outsized moves on the day, guys.
The shorts are getting merked on Merck.
Yeah. Merck was actually on my list, I guess.
Was
Like
it really?
strong selling number 4th. But after Cassava, CTRI, because they had that strong sell, right, at the end of the day. And I think they might have had some intraday news as well a day earlier. So definitely on my watch.
You're not going to want to look at Sava.
Right back up. Don't tell me it's below $10. Okay.
I'm just going to keep hitting the fail for this. Now, if you're into dip buys and key price levels, anybody that was trading the afternoon show remembers this on Friday. If you were trading on Friday, you remember when we were looking at, like, Sava dipped into $10, that's $9.96, and then it rallied to 14 by the end of the day. So if you were watching this at the open, this is the pre-market low. The stock opens up, immediately dips. This wick at the open on volume, it's not $9.95. It is exactly $10. It dips to exactly $10 and then rallies. And then higher low bounces off VWAP, it bounces above VWAP, it bounces higher and higher until it eventually goes to $13. So when we're talking about if you're looking at one stock, if this was like, Sava was in the news on Friday and I'm trading it again today, you think you would have been like laser focused for, if it lost 29, it probably would have been a short. But man, did it hold that $10 level. It would have been a short underneath. But once it holds, that's your one trade. You just need one. I would argue today that one, I kind of came in today thinking that was going to be Chewy, and we looked for over-under, didn't short it until it was a little bit late at 28. But look at Chewy, still at the low of the day. They just don't care. They just don't care. They're just dumping it all day long. We'll see if day 2 is a little bit better for Roaring Kitty. Early look imbalances, kind of nothing burgers in here, 6. Okay, so I don't know why that's an early look sell imbalance of 3.7. I'll double check. Maybe there's some kind of index action we're expecting on Six Flags. But Kenview's always there, nothing big. So for now, there's not a lot in terms of the early look imbalances. I'm going to go ahead and soon I'm going to cancel that Nvidia. Mara is very close to that $23 level. I don't know if we're going to get there, but it is getting awfully close late in the day. That is the one level I wanted to trade it. But I'm going to go double check to see if we're expecting something on 6 on our morning note.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I guess, a little bit more here on the 210 hold. we're chopping around, and again, like I said, we've been holding above VWAP there. That bid up was quite aggressive on top of that 210, so I'm kind of seeing if we can push into that 211 mark and maybe pull up towards some of these levels from earlier, right here at that 211. Maybe some resistance happening, but sideways chop on Tesla nonetheless here. 210s holding higher highs and higher lows, so finally kind of getting potentially with the trend here. Let's see if it kind of comes in. Going into the close, only about 25 minutes left. Here comes a quarter. Here comes 211 test right now at the 80s. Can we make it past the 80s here? I'm asking myself, kind of trying to stay nimble with this. Let strength coming in real hot as, again, we sold off quite aggressively, and now there it goes, 211 breakout right there. So I guess I can start to kind of piece off of that one there as it shows me what I'm looking for. And again, the NQ and the ES giving a little bit of a tailwind as well. 211s, let's see how well 211s hold. We did break trend. We're pushing back in towards that prior high a day there at that 211.50. 54 was the price. Might see something there. On the way down, we did kind of do a little bit of a chop and churn in and around that level, and I did like that level to get more shorter. And definitely, if I was holding this short trade as of right now with this price action, I'd be a little bit sweaty as well. So just trying to find the offside and maybe potentially counter my past self as well. Just thinking like, okay, well, you know, I went long at reasons to buy, not necessarily only reasons to cover. If the reason is strong enough to buy, whether you're short or you're looking for a long, I think a decision can definitely be made there. 211.30s testing as of right now. I do want to stay a little bit nimble with this one, maybe piece off some more as we push back into the 211 halves. There goes Nike back up to 77. Here comes the NQ and the ES. Look at that wipe right back up. A little bit more distinct on the ES than the NQ. And yeah, take a look at this candle on Tesla. So this is kind of what I'm talking about here. Looks very aggressive on the 3-minute. But look, on the 5-minute, nothing too crazy, coming right back up into some of these levels. Go to it on a 15-minute, again, nothing too crazy. We've had candles that expand this much on the ticker there, so I'm going to piece off a little bit more there. And okay, cool, because that's something, again, I kept on getting aggressive and getting in, not really piecing off, either getting everything out all at once and then flipping, or not kind of not really kind of churning the position or kind of piecing off of it here. So the last entry was at 210 halves. So that's the average now, just with the last little bit of last little piece on Tesla. Let's see what we do with those 211.50s prior day highs. Do those continue to act as a resistance here, or do we break past them with only about 25 minutes left on the day? Again, being a shortened week, I guess I am looking for more offsides than general. But I think that's always the perspective, right? You're just looking for potentially who's offside. Sometimes I'm offside. Sometimes there's other participants offside. And I guess I just have to manage my risk as well as possible in both of those scenarios. And that's something I'm, I guess, continuing.
I'll tell you who wasn't offside.
What's going on? Who wasn't offside?
Bellingham was not offside. That's England basically made you sweat it all the way out. They pulled it off right at the end. I was telling you, Obi, 1 minute to go, and with stoppage time, in stoppage time, and Bellingham with just a gorgeous bicycle kick, and then Harry Kane finally does something 1 minute into extra time, and that was a painful loss for Slovakia, but I'm glad England won. If you're wondering why is Neil a fan of England, my cousin played for England, so it's as simple as that. Like the second like that, like when I was younger, it's like, oh, your cousin plays for England. And he played for Leicester and then Liverpool, and that was enough for me. So I'm like, Canada, I love Canada too, and I'll always cheer for Canada and Leicester playing England. But even though my cousin's retired now, it doesn't really make a difference. But England has not been impressive. I'm just glad that they have made it to the next round because they really made you sweat it out. So with only 20 minutes to go, I did just cancel that breakout on Nvidia. It's not going to happen. So we'll just stick with the two things that we're in. Rivian continues to work back into the downside. I don't know if we'll get VWAP, but that's the last stand. I'll be looking at VWAP in here at 1505 is about it. So we'll just get out in front of the bid. Nike does, Nike just put in a lower high, and I tried to reload it off the lower high. So instead of getting closer to 77, I tried to grab 76.90s and did not get filled. So no reload on Nike, even though this is also rolling back over. So the shorts, they have worked at least for now. I did double check GameStop. GameStop ended up breaking back the high of the day. Just not a ton of movement. It's still a good 30-cent rally if we'd gone into that one. But we backed off of GameStop. It's always that VWAP that I'm looking for to try to grab. And Nick W. just said Roku. Oh, goodness. Gurev. It was Emil Heskey. And what's funny is, like, you'll pull him up and you can probably tell a little bit of a resemblance, but he's a big boy. Some of the genes I didn't get. Emil's a big boy and fast. I got the speed that's in the family, but yeah, the dude is like tall like my brother and built like a linebacker. So you can imagine he was a pretty intimidating striker back in the day, played with Michael Owen. Roku and VWAP, that was boring, but hindsight being 20/20, I saw Roku get put in there. Let's try to remember what Roku was doing the last couple of days. It ran into a big resistance zone, but it still got one heck of a trend going, and it never broke the previous high. So this should be on our radars. It's kind of one of those, if it's a short till it's not when it's weak, sometimes it can be a long till it's not either. But if this gets back underneath 60 bucks, if it's the other way, like if it breaks this bottom, ooh.
Oh boy.
You know what happens? Like, look at Roku when it wicks the top and reverses. I have nothing against Roku, I just don't get it. When it wicks a top and reverse, wick a top and reverse. It hasn't really done the old reverse part yet, but yeah, let's just say the other side's been the better side to be on when Roku makes a bit of a move. And it just made a breakout today. And when it makes a breakout, the next day is usually when it starts dumping off. So you have to be patient with it.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of an aggressive pullback off of that 212 back down to 211s. I did kind of get a little bit more as, again, that aggression is suggesting slightly, like we were talking about offside. I'm like, all right, well, if everybody is just slapping the ass into that push going into the last half hour of the day, as that 212 comes in, I do want to get in a little bit more here. But again, I think I got like 60s and we're trading right back at it. But we dipped down to 30s as well, which would have been probably a much better place to get in for I guess a dip buy of that action. But again, 211 halves coming in as of right now. We did hold this prior day high quite well and accelerate to the upside, and now we're holding it slightly on the bid. So I'm just kind of waiting and watching, see if we can get back down to 211s, or we blast back up to 212s. That 212's taking quite a hard pullback. Again, we were aggressive on this break through 210 halves back into 212s, and we did take a little bit of a pullback. Market tailwind still on our side here as we are taking up. But again, sideways consolidation when the NQ starts going down, when it starts going up, it can get a little bit hairy there. But Tesla holding some of these prior levels as of right now. So I'm just kind of patiently waiting to see what we do in and around here. If that 211 comes back in, I'll be more than willing to get out and reassess that one there. But we are holding, we did reclaim a moving average as well. We're holding on the hourly quite well. We're holding on the 15-minute as well. So gonna be a little bit more patient. If the NQ makes a significant move, we know we've been chopping sideways since about 12:30 here for the past 4 hours or so. And we haven't really gone too far, only about a 20 thou orbit, like I've been mentioning over and over again here.
We got to get to something.
What's going on?
Because apparently Chamuna here has been asking about Reddit all day long. And apologies, the chat moves and sometimes we miss some things in there. And then I saw Rivian Millionaire was even like, can you look at Reddit because someone's been asking about it all day. I'm only in 2 shorts and I don't see, with 350 looming, we're just gonna hold these. Hopefully we get target on both of them, although I think it's more likely on Rivian than Nike. But the difference between Reddit and we were just looking at Roku is, and I understand, the same things that I said about Roku technically apply to Reddit here when it breaks 66. Every time it's gotten above 66, it's been a big time rejection candle. It's got a local rally into that breakout. And the difference would be at the end of the day, and first of all, let me go back to Roku so we can look at this first. So Roku pulls back. There's your wick high and ends up closing lower, right? So it pulls back that wick top like it's been doing recently, and then there's selling going into the close, doesn't really catch a bit of a bid. Whereas Reddit, to end the day with the market doing nothing, consolidating the top, and really the market's doing nothing. This is running back to the high of the day on strength and getting back above Friday's high. So you've got still upward trend, trying to close above last week's high. And to me, it's still in the midst of this break. So maybe it does fail in the high 60s. The difference would be you kind of already did the fail on Roku, and then you're just looking for the continuation short tomorrow, whereas Reddit's still firmly in this upward trend, actually trying to close above a high. And on a closing basis, this is pretty much it. Like, I want to say, let me just look up Reddit, because I want to see what the actual 52-week high is on this thing. Oh yeah, well, it's got that silly wick, but on a closing base, I'm pretty sure 66 is it. So it has a chance to close at its highest close, at least, of all time, which is a big deal. So that's pretty bullish, and it just broke that out. So it's a distinction, I think, that's important between the two. You could argue on the daily, both Roku and Reddit are strong stocks that kind of rejected a level that's been rejected before, but I think this one's a little bit stronger. It gets some meme love as well, which, that never really hurt anybody. You don't want to rely on that, but it doesn't hurt that Reddit gets a little bit of that love. So I like it a little bit better. Like if I'm trading Reddit tomorrow, I don't know if I would be, but I'd be looking for long opportunities, whereas I'd be looking for short opportunities on Roku. I just feel a bit differently about it. I'm just going to take this on Nike. There's buyers at 70, and I got to respect it. It just keeps on getting to the 70 level and reversing. Rivian feels much more likely to get to VWAP at this point. So with only 4 minutes to go till the imbalances come out, I think I have a good chance of getting VWAP here on Rivian, so we're just going to hold on to it. When you have a holiday shortened week, the volumes aren't going to be as big, so you just have to find things that continue trend or things that reverse trend or scalp inside of a range. You don't want to get too cute. That's what you want to do on most days, but I find you don't want to overtrade in the afternoon. So you kind of find something that works, stick with it. Probably should have reloaded Rivian here, and then clearly on Nike, when I chose not to get this the third time or even a fourth time, it made sense to do so, because you could have just gone short 77 over and over again. It's just giving you a 15 to 20 cent range, and the last will get 30s and walk away from that trade. But only 3 minutes to go till the imbalances come out there. Should be an interesting one. I'm not expecting any fireworks. Oh, I should have said this. Six Flags, which is now a smaller early look sell imbalance, it's an expected upweight in the S&P 600. So even if it comes out a sell, I'm ignoring that. It's supposed to be, it's an expected upweight in the S&P 600.
Yeah, some of the I guess strong pushes that we had I guess last Friday off of those imbalances were, I guess I should be kind of watching those as well. I remember SMCI was one of them, and another one was I guess UNH as well. So I think I should be pulling those up as of right now. Again, with only about I guess 3 more minutes left, as Neil just pointed out, for the closing imbalances to come out. So things could be getting a little bit slightly hairy here going into the end of the day. I'm holding this trade a little bit longer than I'd like to here at 210, coming right back in on Tesla. So a nice little strong wipe back down to the downside on Tesla there. We have been making higher highs, and higher lows as well. And this aggressive action going into the close is a little concerning for me as well. So with that being said, I think I'm just going to punch out of this one there, as that, look at that selling coming in. Oh boy, that is aggressive to the downside, coming right back into that 210 level okay, I keep thinking we're closer to 350 than I'm
it's 2 minutes.
Thinking. Yeah, 2 minutes away. Nike pulling back in as well. Are you still in that Nike short?
I just got out of it. And I'm going to be out of Rivian in a couple of seconds. Rivian's about to get to VWAP, so that one's coming to the downside. I got a pretty good guess that when when Rivian was consolidating at 14.15, that last push to VWAP has something to do with Tesla's fall. Like, Tesla kind of broke, and you saw the acceleration, so I think Rivian just kind of followed along here with it, so we'll take it. Delov said, are you closing Rivian before the imbalances? I mean, ideally, that'd be great. But now, if it gets back above 14.15, I'm now trailing it. If it breaks out like back above this level here, I just get out of it. That's where everything accelerated anyways, so we might as well. You know what, there's no point being on the bid. If I've tightened my trailing stop, I'll just take a week and get. I'll either just punch out if the imbalance moves it, or give it to 14, 16, and maybe we get a break of VWAP and things can flush even further. Didn't really think that Tesla move. I thought this was going against the grain, where Tesla was strong and this was pulling back. But if Tesla is falling, we might as well give Rivian a little bit more room to try to continue to the downside. Like, Tesla was strong when we were taking this short. I like the fact, at least, that Rivian was going counter trend, but even better. And you're right, Barry. You know, on Friday, the only trade you needed on Friday was short Nike, in a general sense. The only trade that you needed today was right at the open. Chewy, the first thing it did was lose the support level. And then it consolidated under and just kept going and going. And it's a low of the day. Every opportunity you could have just shorted this on pretty much every single pop. Is what it is, man. When a stock does this, you just got to look for that trend. Sometimes it's really, really good. Nike did exactly the same thing. And you'd think we would learn our lesson, but I shorted it. Then the first opportunity to make a bottom, like, oh, let's go long. You know, it kind of made a bottom, I went long, and I stopped shorting the stock. Everybody does this because you'd rather try to catch the bottom because you always seem so smart when you get the bottom. But when you short the pop, it's like, yeah, but I'm shorting it at $26.40. The stock was at $31. It doesn't sound as cool. But believe me, you just join that trend, you're in it over and over and over again, and you make more money if you just play the trend over and over.
Yeah, definitely. If things are like ranging, I do agree with that. Like if it's trending, if it's ranging, or if it's ranging in a trend, it's giving you lots and lots of opportunity to get involved, both on, I guess, both ways as well, right? Yeah, that's definitely something that I got to do better at. Coming into the day, looking for certain things. Yeah, the imbalances are out as of right now.
Basically, just Siri.
Yeah. So
Apple is only 900,000 to the buy side. Microsoft is 800,000 to the buy side. The SPY is 1.2 billion to buy. The NASDAQ 600 million to buy. The Mag 7 total is like 450. Oh, there's Nvidia. Nvidia wasn't there 2 seconds ago, or I'm just losing it. Nvidia 1.2 million to buy. That's the big one. That was not there 2 seconds ago. Siri we don't care about. Remember I said Six Flags supposed to be a bid, so I'm ignoring that. It's only 900,000 to sell anyways. But yeah, Nvidia's got to be the story. Yeah, I got to get to the, oh, that's not much of a move. So Nvidia is a buy, but not much movement there as it slightly pops up by 20 or 30 cents. Just because an imbalance comes out doesn't mean that it has to be a big imbalance. It doesn't mean it has to be a big move. It doesn't have to move in that direction. But if you have a level that you like, or like a bias in a certain direction, sometimes using the imbalance is a reason to be in the trade, or some confluence to the trade is a good idea. So Rivian broke that 14. We'll trail it. If it gets back above 14, I'll just jump out of it. We do have to be flat at the end of the day. I got to get up to the desk in just a couple of minutes. Symbols are blurred on my charts. Are they?
What does that mean?
I think that looks pretty good. You guys let me know. So 14, I just took it out on Rivian, so we'll ring the register on that one. Don't want to look any gift horses in the mouth. It was a simple trend break on Rivian after a strong move into the upside. I'm assuming Nike probably would have been a good hold. No, not really. You gotta if you held Nike, you get an extra 15 cents at this point. So not a huge move in Nike. Obviously, it's a win, but I'd say nothing crazy.
Yeah, that pullback is it's a little lackluster. Then I was looking for a pull right back into VWAP as well, but that never really came. That sideways consolidation happened for over an hour there. What's going on, Adara?
Just be aware here on GME, GameStop. I'm seeing this circulated on social media. I've yet to see any confirmation of this, but it's circulating that the case against Keith Gill with regards to the allegations of securities fraud in the mid-May 2024 move in GameStop has apparently been voluntarily dismissed by the plaintiff, Martin Redev. So just to clarify, we're seeing some circulation. Again, not confirmed yet. I'm still looking for confirmation, but just so you guys know, it is circulating that case against Keith Gill from Martin Radev has been voluntarily dismissed. So keep an eye on GME, still looking for some other confirmation of that, guys.
Voluntarily dismissed. I wonder what that means.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far that was going anyways.
Yeah, right?
You know what? I was pretty skeptical as to where that was going to go. But Yeah, it's not moving the stock. The first thing I did is pull up GameStop to see, hey, is there like a late trade that we can take on it? And there's pretty much nothing happening on GME. So it might have spiked like 10 cents. Like if that was just now, like there was a volume spike on GameStop. Like I'm not being crazy here. Like it was a decent volume spike, but it just got chewed up and only went about 10 pennies. So that's a nothing burger. Not trading it. We'll probably keep eyes on it in the aftermarket show just to see if it does anything cool. But yeah, kind of disappointing. You see news like that, and if you're looking for things to trade, you kind of hope there's like a squeeze opportunity there. But absolutely nothing there in GME. We already talked about Chewy. We're out of Rivian. I think this could get dicey for Rivian. This was a very strong day for it to not get back to 15. When you think about after the Volkswagen news, I'll get to the desk in a couple of minutes, but when you think about after that Volkswagen news, you popped, you've dropped, then you failed 15, you failed 15 again. I know it's a big, strong day for it, but it's still a lower high off 14.5, and to not hold on to VWAP at the end of the day is not the best of signs. So it's still got support down at 13 even, it looks like, but yeah, still making some lower highs as Rivian. You'd like to think it made a base, but if a stock makes a base, I want it holding a higher low very distinctly. VWAP maybe, you could argue that it held 1370. That should be a key level tomorrow, but the short certainly worked. Row hit, we'll take a quick look at Microsoft, hit 355, big pairing event. Whoa! The NASDAQ liked 355 there. Big spike in the NASDAQ. I don't see anything on the imbalance locator that is the reason for it. Let's just say it's because of Microsoft. So let's just say Microsoft is the reason we're breaking these highs. I look up, Nvidia's not doing much of anything. Tesla's still pulling back. Microsoft, fresh highs, 457. Off to the races. Oh goodness, Softy, you have broken the 52-week high.
Softy's
a little bit late in the day. But you know the best thing about this? It doesn't matter that it's breaking the 52-week high now, because if it holds it tomorrow, we can still look for longs on Softy. 460 breakout, dip buy into 455. There's so many things that we can get jiggy with if Softy's going to go. Google not really doing anything. I just want to check out some of the others here because that was a big press in the NASDAQ. Look at Apple. Look at Apple there. Apple, nice little bounce. There was no imbalance flip at 355 to cause this. It was already a buy imbalance on all the major indexes, but at 355, all these big names spiked to the upside. Adrian saying, look at PDD. Last one. I get in like addiction mode because I start thinking about what are the ideas for tomorrow, and people throw symbols at me, and I'm like, oh, maybe we can put that one on a list. I haven't traded Pinduoduo in a hot minute. Did that move at the end of the day? Not really, but a good V-shaped recovery on Pinduoduo. Yeah, Pinduoduo. That's a decent day, but that still looks like a short.
Is that a daily chart?
That's a daily chart.
Yeah,
This still
I know
looks like
been
that.
selling off aggressively back to back. Like,
Oh my
it's been in
goodness.
a bit of a trend.
Short 136 on
Futures are just going, man. Like, it's what's going on here. There's definitely some imbalances that are carrying. I know that Softy is pushing to the highs there, and yeah, Alphabet as well pushing to the highs. Softy's the strongest one. Spider breaking for a fresh high a day as well. Look at the ES go 5540s coming in real hot on that one there on the Spider. But yeah, 20,000, a little bit of an interesting level nonetheless, and it continues to be going into the close there, Neil. So
see you on the flip side.
See you at.
I'll see you guys at the
big
desk.
right
Market
there.
recap.
Thank you, Neil.
We got Mr. Nos on board and Adara.
All right. So yeah, no. Hopefully you guys had a good day today. Trading a lot of the tickers again. Very strong trends happening on things like Nike, things like I guess Tesla again off of the open there was very aggressive to the upside. And that was pretty decent. Nike pushing right back, holding that 75 and pushing all the way into 77s as well. And take a look at Softy, guys. Softy is pushing to the upside very, very aggressively as we speak going into the close. Now, these are all-time highs, if I remember correctly, on Softy. Yes, sir, they are. We were testing some of these all-time highs prior week, and coming into today, we are very strong, holding above some of these reference prices here from prior day's strong sell-off. Again, we talk about that strong sell that happened on the imbalance on Friday. We wiped that whole move, and then we started holding above that, and now we're pushing up into the end of the day, into the close as well. So very, very strong action on Softy there. No other tickers really showing us this kind of strength. I'm not really looking at Meta. Oh boy, look at Meta right there. So Meta, full-on V-shaped recovery, almost coming into day highs. We did clip the opening price just now as well. Opening price at 9:30 being right at 505.10s here. Is that, yeah, okay, so right at 9:30, 505.10s is the opening price. The high of this candle is 505.76. So that came in real nice. Took all day to do as the low was made in the morning at 10:15 on the 15-minute candle. Took almost 5.5 hours roughly for that candle to come in. I'm going to reach over here because I know the countdown is going to be happening soon enough, with only about 40 seconds left to go. So yeah, let them know what you guys have traded today in the chat. We can take a quick look at it as well. We only have about 30 seconds left. So I'll be seeing you guys for the rest of the week. Shortened week, don't forget, we do have a half day on Wednesday, and Thursday is off for the 4th of July. So with that, we'll start the countdown timer in about a few seconds. But yeah, I see people coming in the chat talking about what they've been trading here. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you, Adara. So yeah, it's been quite a day there. Definitely opportunities on the board for those who are looking for them. Lots of I guess trends, some reversions, some of them working better than others. Nike, that SSR bounce we were potentially looking for last week, coming in today as well. Futures sideways, certain specific tickers super strong on the day. Apple and Microsoft, to name a few. Let's take a quick look at some of the other ones that I had on watch. I know Dell was super strong today. Dell to the upside, up almost about, what is that? From the low of day to the high, up almost 8%, just above 8% on Dell Technologies there. So Dell was super strong as well. We talk about Nike. Chewy, not really the ticker that we were looking for. We had some news over the weekend about Roaring Kitty kind of having a position in that in the ticker. I guess a lot of the move happened on Thursday and I guess Friday as well. Strong sell-off coming into today. But without any further ado, I'm going to pass it over to the big desk for the market recap with Neil and Adara. So stick around, don't go anywhere. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you so much, Obi, and what a great start to the week it is. It's always good. You have a holiday shortened week, but there's still trading opportunities. People always say, oh, there's going to be light volume because of holiday shortened week. That's true, but it doesn't mean there aren't things to trade. Chewy was moving around big time. You saw right at the end of the day, Microsoft still making some fresh highs, so that was good. You did have the NASDAQ leading the way today, no question about it, over the S&P, but the semis, they were pretty weak in a general sense, but it wasn't 100% across the board. Nvidia did have that comeback. Didn't quite take out that high, but it did have that comeback. I'm starting with this recap, and I do have the ETFs up, but I made sure to leave Mara up as the main chart to remind everybody that that was an absolute rocket ship and deserves the big salute today, because I don't think any of us traded Mara. Well, I know I didn't trade Mara. I don't know about everyone else on the floor. I'm pretty sure Sharif, Adara, you didn't trade it. I know Obi didn't look at it, and I think that was a big mistake. There was that rebound in crypto was on the watch list. We did have on the watch list the bounce in crypto. I went over a few names. It was just nothing that stood out to me to the long side. But Mara was an absolute banger. The other story, of course, when we're going over today, is going to be the dud that was Roaring Kitty in his 6.6% position in Chewy. Well, I can tell you all of that exuberance in Chewy was gone by the time we got to the open, and it continued to go to the downside. If you want to get freedom and wealth, then sometimes you've got to have conviction in your own ideas and don't blindly follow a guy named Roaring Kitty. He's obviously done really, really well with GameStop. There's no question about it. His original thesis was genius, but today was not the day to join. You had to be willing to go both days in this. In terms of sectors out here, USO, baby, baby.
It was all a dream.
I used to.
Magazine, salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine. Taking pictures of my wall. I'll stop now. I could do the whole.
I know you can.
Yeah.
On Friday.
Friday we'll have to do. Friday. We'll do a verse on Friday.
On Friday. I actually have a plan for this Friday, because my thing is I'm gonna do. I'm getting way ahead of myself. It's literally Monday. I don't have to do this right now, but I'm doing it anyways. My plan of action is if I drop something on Friday, I'm gonna do a verse, and then Adara has to guess who the artist is and what the song is. Because Adara knows their hip hop, so I'm gonna pull something out that is probably not that new.
Okay.
And then Adara's gonna have to guess it. We'll do that on Friday. Yep. But a shout out to you, I'll talk about USO. Shout out to USO, because it's gorgeous and it's real. The breakout, we were just talking about this last week. We were just talking about this breakout. There's the 80 break. Now all you got to do is get back into that double top on the daily. So that was an absolute banger today. If you got it, congratulations to you. Wheat's up 2%. I don't know anybody that trades it. We don't have it here on the platform, at least not yet. I'm sure they're always looking to add futures, but we don't have it. Silver with a good day up that 1%. Uranium's trying to get back. And what I like about this, uranium on a weekly, uranium never made that break at the top. You can see it broken on a daily, but now you're the 200 period moving average on a dip. And this is, generally speaking, where I like those trends. If you hold trend bouncing on a pullback off the 200 period, that's good. So this just needs to break back above 30 to 30 and a half, and you can start going again. Hey, look at this. What up, Kathy? 1.14% for ARC today. They're not having a bad day. And guess what? Back above the 50 period moving average. It's been a hot minute. I guess it was an April Fool's joke when it tried to, it was. It literally... It was right around April.
Was it?
The beginning of April when this lost. You can't make it up. The 50 period, the last time this stock, well, okay, fine, it broke the 50 period over here. But if you go to here, when it really lost the 50 period, that was literally April 1st. And the joke was that it attempted to bounce off the 50 period, and on the second, it gapped underneath. Ooh, so it looks like, we're holding support, we're bouncing higher low on April 1st. Jokes. That was the exact moment that you didn't want to buy ARC. But it's back to the upside, holding that 50 period. Let's see if it can actually sustain that move. I'd be a little bit skeptical, but stranger things have happened. So the sectors are looking good. We talked about energy already. Whether you like USO or XLE, I think I'm more of an XLE person. I think the problem with XLE, and you can see it's very obvious here, I'm not going to waste my time drawing a trend line. You have a very distinct channel on XLE, and it's bottom and top. Very distinct channel, and you're holding that channel. What we know about these types of channels is if you're a swing trader or just a short-term trader in general, when you break trends like this, you want to be involved. So this can get through that 50 period. It wouldn't just be breaking the 50 period, it would be breaking this series of trends to the downside. And so it's done work off the 200, but there's definitely some room to go here. But I want to talk you said earlier today that you were close. You had to go into the simulator because you got shut down.
I did.
So first things first, I'm going to hit this. It used to be a rule on the trading floor, at least when I was a trainer.
Yeah.
Once you went live, if you were still a trainee and you got shut down in the live market, you had to go into the simulator to trade the rest of it. There was no option of going home. All trainees had to go into the simulator if they got shut down.
Yeah.
Nowadays, some people will leave, and it's a different time, whatever. People have side jobs, they're doing different things. I don't want to harp on anybody, but I applaud the fact that you got to be humble in this business. Go into the sim, man. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. While you were in the sim, how did it go?
The sim was really good. I was able to execute the Tesla shorts I wanted to take live. I was able to execute them in the sim, basically because the biggest issue was my first Tesla trade was bad. I had good size initially, profited in the first part of the trade, added, I mean, I stand by the add at like the level, but the issue is basically Tesla did Tesla things, popped up $1. The second I got out, it popped right back down to my levels. It was what it was. The short wouldn't have worked, but I would have been able to profit had that oopsie with Tesla not happened. But I take full responsibility. The position was, I would say, too large. And basically because I had that first issue, I wasn't able to risk as much as I wanted in the later shorts. But then when I was in the sim, I was able to take those shorts off the 90 MA heading into the 209 area. And I'm really proud. I got out at 209 right before we had that bounce to 210.50. So I was really proud of what I did in the sim and excited to take the approach I had to those trades and take it into tomorrow. Yeah.
That's all you can do. And look, Tesla was an absolute rocket ship, maybe late in the day losing some of its luster, but this was the one. And we talk about this all the time. Like, you can, when you want dip buys, I think when you have a bias to the long side, let's just say in this case, because I didn't want to go long Tesla, and we didn't even get it until a lot later on when it eventually made a couple of decent breakout plays on Tesla. But obviously, you want to be in on the first break. You can want to dip buy all you want. That 200 level, the 198 stood out, but there was a couple of very clean places that you could have had the long. And the first one, I think, just goes back into 203. So when I look back, I did this at lunchtime. It's like, what could I have taken? I could have easily taken a 202 break. I definitely should have been in a 203 break. We eventually joined the trend. I had an 06 short, which was a good short in the moment, but it was just another place that you should have been buying the dip. So Tesla does a lot of heavy lifting today, despite that late day sell-off. So shout out to all the Tesla bulls that kind of really stuck it out with this stock. It was not the easiest one, because Tesla has been giving you dip buys on the up days often. And I think what will happen is you get accustomed to a stock doing the dip and rip, and when it doesn't happen, you can find yourself sitting it out, which is a bit of a mistake. Apple, that happened with today. The last time Apple had a big sell-off on imbalance, it ended up with a huge rally, and I got stuck just looking for a repeat of the pattern. This is on the last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. It did a dip, then the following Monday, broke the low, reversed it, huge. So what do you think I'm expecting? You get that dip again today. Whoops, I want to zoom in, not out. You get that dip on Friday, and I'm looking for a repeat of the pattern. Like, yeah, it kind of holds there. I'm looking for a break of the low, hold it just like it did the week before on the following Monday, and instead, it just went clean into a breakout. But the point being, if you are biased long, there's multiple ways to trade this, and there was a very clean 212 break on Apple that you can clearly see you could have had in there. So it is what it is, but I do believe, there were some great trades out there in the day. Don't get me wrong. We already talked about Chewy, and with Chewy, I'll get this out of the way. We have Michael Noss locked and loaded and ready to go. But I do want to say this. We said it in the morning show. You've got to be mentally agile. Yes, Chewy had the Roaring Kitty news. Yes, it has a 15% short float. Yes, squeeze stocks are fun and going long is fun and all that good stuff. But you've got to be able to pivot if it turns into something else. And there's no question about it. It was already making highs in the pre-market and then lower highs and then lower highs. And this is 9:30. So you had one option. Don't trade it, or two options. Don't trade it or go short. The other option is it's showing you no bid. So there was no place where it actually even made sense to go long. I'll catch a falling knife on plenty of stocks. There wasn't even a place where it made sense to go long until it was already at $25. And that's sort of the thing. So you can either not trade the stock, or if you know it's going to do crazy volume, find yourself into a short. There's just not much else you can do in that situation. You can want it to be a long, but if it ain't, it ain't. So I know the funny thing about it is I promise you, I could not say any of this stuff, and we're going to have Michael on in a second. He'd probably say all the same stuff to you. And most traders would. That you can have the greatest thesis in the world or the best plan of action. If this stock breaks this price, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. But if it never happens, don't be stubborn about it. Just find a different plan, find a different stock, join the trend. There's always something else you can be doing as an active trader in the market. But we are ready, so you know what time it is. Let's get the party started. There he is. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you.
Good to see you. How's it going?
Pretty
Long time
good.
no talk.
It's been a minute. I mean, we haven't seen you since this morning. But how's your Canada Day, first of all?
So far, it's been fantastic. I spent the whole weekend building a swing set, and got to go outside and play with my son on that just this afternoon. So that was a lot of fun.
I mean, that is literally as good as it gets, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying that. Next time I'm out in Halifax, I know last time we weren't able to connect, but the next time I'm out there, I know we're going to connect for sure. I'd love to come by, check out that swing set. But before you came on, I was kind of teeing up the whole, like, I don't know whether you saw what happened in Chewy, but even if you didn't, we've seen it happen a million times on things like GameStop or AMC, like squeeze stocks in general, where you get all that hoopla and that big run to the upside. And sometimes you've just got to be able to say it's not going. It's doing that other thing, which is the other side of short float names, is when they do not continue through, they can really trend back into the downside. And you really just have two options: sit it out or go short, I think, because if you were trying to fight along in one of these, it was just nasty. And more power to Roaring Kitty for everything he did about GameStop. Not off to a good start here on Chewy, I'll tell you that.
No, and with this one, and I think he's kind of losing his power overall, right? The tweets come out, and you get a little bit of a pop, and then they move back, and that's fine. Who knows? I know there's a lot of speculation about where he got the money, and he must have sold GameStop to do it if all the screenshots are right. But one interesting thing that I've been playing here that I'll share with you guys. I'm not much of a day trader, but I like to dabble, let's say. Most of my bread and butter is swing trading, but from every now and then I like to, take a shot here or there. And one of the things I've been doing with these mean pump and dumps for a while here is anchoring a VWAP from wherever the high of that is. So this is the high that we got a couple days ago, Thursday, I guess, last Thursday, and we spent a lot of time below that. And you can see in the pre-market, we came back up to it, and then we spent pretty much the whole pre-market right on that. So that what this is telling me is, what is the average price of all of the people who just FOMO'd into whatever the cat guy on the internet was saying? This is their average price right now. And it's crazy that you see it stop here and spend the better part of, I think, about 2 hours just chopping around that VWAP. And when that let go, that was it. So I was able to get a little bit on that move. I wish I could say I held for the whole thing, but it seems to be coming over and over again. I found this first with GameStop. Every time it had one of those crazy after hours run, if you anchored a VWAP to it, when it came back up to that price, it was almost like either there's algorithms or it's just people who are bag holders getting back to even and selling out. And just, it's been a reliable trade. So even though I'm not a day trader, I'm going to keep doing this one until it stops working.
And that's all you got to do. Like, just go back to the well till that water runs dry. I knew we'd tee that one up for you. And the other thing about being versatile is, I'll every now and then I will do like some swing trading, not nearly as much as you, obviously. But hey, if you find something that works as a day trade and you're a swing trader, I love the fact that you're willing to step into it. And I think the difference being, when you swing trade, you're looking for those bigger moves. A retracement on a GameStop or a Chewy is going to give you the kind of percent gain that sometimes you're waiting a week or two in other stocks. I think that has to be a part of it. I know people are always looking for that in the upside, but you can win both ways. And locates are reasonably cheap on those names. I can tell you, from 2020 to now, you're able to short these things much cheaper as a day trader than you used to be.
Yeah, and that's a common thing that I'll do. We're not having this happen right now, but I remember during 2020, I was not swing trading at all during the crash and the rebound when the VIX was super elevated. I was basically just trading indexes at that point because you were able to get a 1 to 3% swing on these indexes happening all the time. And if that ever happens again, I did a little bit of it in 2022, a little bit again, then that move will happen. So yeah, mostly a swing trade. I'll take a day trade from time to time, but I'm getting ready for the world, which we all know is coming, when all markets will be open 24/7 and there'll no longer be a differentiation. I can't wait for that. You're going to take a trade and then it's either going to, time won't be the limiting factor. It's going to get you whenever it stops going up, kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going to need a few more hosts for that day. I can promise you that. Like, I'm already old. We'll see what happens. We have some talent that I think we'll be able to figure it out with. But look, this morning it's the beginning of the month. It's not just the beginning of the month. It's the beginning of a new quarter as well.
Yep.
We got the back half of the year, so out with the first half, in with the second half. And I know you're looking over at a lot of ETFs some trends that you're looking to maybe join or reverse, that kind of thing. So, walk us through some of your ideas there, because you had a couple that were really interesting. I want to make sure the afternoon crowd gets them as well.
Yeah, so the first thing that I brought up, and I'll bring up again here, was just this. It's a pretty rare candlestick pattern, but I'll zoom right in here. And we call this a tweezer top, where you have two wicks, and this is a weekly chart of the SPY. You have these two wicks that come up to the same area, and then they reject. And it's important to know that all candlestick patterns are just showing you the emotions on what's happening in a lower time frame. So you have a big rally up this week, and some people use that as a chance to offload some stock and sell. You have a rally up the next week. That happens as well. Seasonality, I'm going to do a lot of work for this on Friday's show, but seasonality with the election cycle, we're into what could be a choppy period of time. So it looks like there could be some institutional selling happening up in this area. So I'm watching this really, really closely. If we fail and start to push lower, then I'm going to probably exit a lot of the long trades that I have on and maybe look for some either pullback trades or shorter term scalps. But there's been a few of those. The other one that really, really stood out to me, I want to bring up again, is XLC. Which you mentioned as I left there, that people think they see communications and they think, oh, it's going to be telecoms and blah blah. This is mostly Google and Meta, and that's what is communications nowadays. And look at the monthly chart. This is each candle's a month here, so we're talking from early or late 2022 till now, just straight up to hit this prior resistance. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to reverse and go all the way back down or anything, but it just would shock me to see it just blow right through in one chop. We may consolidate here for a little bit before pushing higher. So just a couple things are starting to point to me that we could be in for chop. And when that happens, that's when I have to kind of shift posture from more of just a trend follower, just looking for stocks to break out and holding them for as long as they go, and shift my stance a little bit and try to time pullbacks and try to short rallies and do kind of a buy the dip, sell the rip type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. And what's interesting there is I look at that like at that XLC, and I don't wonder, hey, it could be something you use. Some people might be using it to hedge, the way that it's 45%, just those two stocks. But what I actually love was something you mentioned before with that rare candlestick pattern. You learn something. I've been trading for over 20 years. Now, I'm not a CMT. I'm not a charter market technician, but I have seen a lot of patterns that, whether it's intuitively or time, you see them over and over again, you have an idea of what it means, but I've never seen that tweezer pattern that you mentioned there on the SPY. So my first thought is, I saw someone else in the chat say this too, if something is rare, I almost like it more.
Yeah.
And so I'm spitballing here, but have you traded something like this before? Like, do you remember the last time you saw this kind of a setup? Because I've literally never seen this before on a weekly chart, this little tweezer pattern, and to see it on the SPY would seem to be significant to me. But what's your experience with it?
It's very powerful simply because exactly you're out. And that's what I like about it. I always talk about the basement window trades, which, if you're going to jump out a window, better be a basement window. And it's the same kind of thing that I'm seeing here. Now, what's important to note is that all candlestick patterns are just displaying what happens on a lower time frame. So I've zoomed in here to a 60-minute chart of the SPY to show that this tweezer top basically just becomes essentially a double top if you're looking at intraday candles. So this is the first time that we hit that level and just rejected really, really hard. And then the next time we hit that level and then we rejected hard again. So when you're looking at longer term candlestick patterns, that ends up being shorter term, moment or shorter term, just basic, I guess, geometric patterns, you could call them, double tops, double bottoms, head and shoulders, that type of thing. But yes, this is really rare. I can't really remember the last time I saw this, especially on a weekly chart. Most of the time, when you see these things, they happen 2 or 3. This is the one that kind of just came to mind a while ago. Now, was in the context of an already bear market and a downtrend. This is early 2023. We had 3 of those topping tails right in the exact same area, but they don't even line up as perfectly as this. And that caused, probably a month or so of drawdown. So again, it's probabilities like everything else. We don't know what's going to happen next. You could almost say that this was a tweezer top right here, and that just failed. It took a while to mature anyway. But it's just showing me that if I'm going to look to hedge, which is something that I did a little bit of, and how I generally do that is with inverse ETFs. If I'm going to look to take that hedge, this is a good place to do it, because if I see a candle close above this high right here, then I know I'm wrong and it's time to go. And if we even pull back to test this prior low right here, that's a 10% pullback. So my risk is just a percent or two, and my reward is 10%. I have, like, I always look at that and I'm like, mathematically, I have to take that trade if I think there's better than a 50-50 shot that's going to happen.
I 100% agree with this. Like, I'm a big poker player. Like, if you get certain pilot situations, you're making a call. You're just doing it, and you know you're doing it, and you put in the work. And we have a question in here. I believe it was from, no, I missed it. It was Neo Roberts, not me. It's actually Neo, N-I-O Roberts in the chat. Do you have any thoughts on the weak RSP today? So the equal weight ETF was back down into potentially some support. So do you have any thoughts there?
Yeah, and that's a good shout out, because of course you guys got a really smart crowd there. So I'm just drawing this up here, but just quickly for those who don't know, we have the SPY, which is 500 of the largest names out there, and that ranks those names by market cap. So the bigger the company, the more of the effect it has on the market. This RSP has the exact same 500 names. However, as opposed to being ranked by market cap, now they're equally weighted. So what this basically does, it says, okay, what are the other, call it 495 stocks or so in the market doing? And when you see the SPY up a little bit on the day, and then you see the RSP down almost 1%, that just shows me that there was a lot of names that had a really, really hard time today. And it looks like we could potentially be breaking out of this symmetrical triangle I've had drawn here on the RSP for a while. So it's not what I want to see. Again, it's more evidence that this rotation that I'm hoping happens isn't yet. And when it does, if it does, then that will be fantastic. But yeah, this has me a little bit worried. If we can't reclaim the support zone that you were calling out here, call it 163-ish, and this upward trend line pretty quickly, then I'm going to probably lean a little bit more in my defensive stance. I would say I'm still mostly bullish on the market, and just added a little bit of defense here. My game plan is that if we continue to see the same thing with QQQE, which is the NASDAQ 100, but also equal weighted. And that's showing that weakness as well. So we're seeing just some signs that say, hey, not worried in the sense that it's 2008 and we should all run for the hills. But for us, short term, hold for a couple days to a couple weeks, might be time to kind of take a little bit of a neutral stance for a bit. And I'm just seeing that all over the market in different aspects.
Yeah, thank you for that, Michael. I think it's always important, like when you're managing trades, managing portfolio, whatever it might be, to, if it's working, your job isn't done just because something is starting to work. You always have to be looking for those reasons to exit trades, hedge, maybe start to flip in the other direction. I appreciate you going over that one there. It's already so close to 4:30. First of all, before thank you and everything, I just wanted to make sure, is there anything else that you wanted to cover? I know there's a few other things that maybe you wanted to get to, and I know you want to talk energy, and I like some things going on there as well. Can you maybe jump to that before we get you out of here?
Yeah, so energy is really interesting to me, because we are seeing some bifurcation when it comes to what's doing well and what's not. So here's UNG pulling back, had a great trade. We were talking about a lot on this after our shows, from 15 and went all the way up to 20. I'm not going to look that in the most, so I exited that. Now we're coming back down here. So just look at the free fall that happens in UNG. Again, they call it the Widowmaker for a reason. But then if we take a look at XLE, we're not seeing that at all. Actually, XLE is putting in this nice up channel right here. Oh, that's an awful drawing. That's okay. You guys get what I'm talking about. This wedge that's been happening for a long time, if this resolves higher, then I think we could see some rotation into energy. And knowing that that's not in solar doesn't look good, and that's not in natural gas, that doesn't look good. That leads us to just a couple spaces, being maybe uranium, which has been one of my favorite stocks that I've been, or commodities that I've been watching for a while. I'm looking to see if we hold this lower bound right here around 28, or just oil as a whole. Right, nice little breakout today. That's what's showing. So we have this high on oil right here around $83 or so. So if we are going to see a rotation into energy, I'm going to look at where is strong, and we can go from there. I don't know if that's going to have to do with the politics that's in the election that's happening. Again, I try very hard not to follow it, whether one candidate's going to be better or one candidate's going to be worse. But this is just what we're seeing right now is people are shifting around. And this uranium story with the NNE stock that was going crazy is getting interesting because everyone's got so hyped on AI, and then they're like, this thing takes a lot of power, so now we got to power it. So that's why I'm thinking that it still could be an AI play if we start to see this rotation into energy soon.
I 100% agree with that. I believe energy is being a little bit slept on because of it. But the important thing, I think there's a lot of important takeaways there, but the one I would want to emphasize is, when you're looking for a specific sector or whatever to break out or a move in that sector, do the pre-work of identifying where you want to express the trade. Like, is it an individual stock that I like the most, or is it one of the 3 or 4 ETFs? This one's going the best, like USO is looking stronger than XLEs, we'll take that, or XLE needs to do this, and maybe I'll take a specific stock in XLE. That's all work that you can do before you enter a trade, when something is setting up. And we talk about this all the time. Like, you can't control the market, but you can control your level of preparation. Yours is always top-notch, Michael. Thank you, as always. Are you watching any fireworks tonight?
It's rainy and cloudy out here, so I don't think so. Unfortunately not. Hopefully they move them to instead of just canceling them entirely, so we can check those out soon.
Well, I'm hoping the weather turns for you. One of the more fun things, I know for all of our viewers down south, they're all looking forward to July 4th. I spent some time down in Florida with my aunt. I'll never forget July 4th fireworks. It's pretty good up here, maybe not as big as you guys do it in the States, but I do hope you enjoy the rest of your Canada Day. Thank you so much for stopping through. Always a great guest, Michael Noss. Check him out on the X Machine. He's doing a great job, and he'll be back on Friday. We can go over some of these great ideas again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, and happy Canada Day to you and yours.
Happy Canada Day.
And happy Canada Day to everybody. I say it over and over again, even though I'm the only one that wore red.
Sorry.
Obi had a little bit of red on.
His was red adjacent.
I'm like, what is going on here? It's Canada Day. Okay, so Fabian's got a sweater it's not red, but his is actually, it has Canada on. It's probably just a Roots sweater, I'm assuming.
My hair is kind of red.
You do have red hair, so that is good. But you know what?
Fabian,
what was that?
Way too far.
What did you just, I missed
He
that.
has red blood. So.
As opposed to what color blood, Fabian? You guys, you're killing me over here. Obi's still hanging out doing work, by the way. I'm pointing in this direction. He's actually, there he is. Obi is just chilling. That is pretty red, but I'm telling you, on Canada Day, I'm wearing the red. That's what's up. I know what you guys are going to do down south in a couple of days. But on Friday, Adara absolutely killed it with the roll call, so I'm not even trying. We might go back and forth, but I know you guys want round 2, so let's kick it off, do a little roll call. Let's get it done with Adara. Let's go get them.
Let's go. Yeah, guys, put your names here in the roll call. I'll start. Bears vs. Bulls, thank you so much for everything you do. Killing it every single day. Shout out to you. Mike Breeze in here. Ricky Peters in here. Mark M. Rivian Millionaire. Take Profit. Tom Derek S. Neil Robertson. Reading backwards so we get some more names. Odyssey Fights. Darwin. The Piper. Just Brad _V. Darwin here again. Pin money. Shout out to you, Neil Roberts, again here as well. Easy Trader. We have Live Trader by Trading TV. That's going to be Fabian. Shout out to you, Fabian. Mr. IN. Rivian Millionaire. Dave Clark. Hout, Dr. Strange, Malik's Mind, Brandon Townsend, Odyssey Fights. Okay, we need some more names in here. Malik's Mind again over here. Lionel Martinez, Mark L, Marion Buford, Mr. IN. There's a lot of the same names in here. I'm apparently reading too fast. HPR Romania. We've got Dr. Strange here with the Canadian flag. Shout out to you. Adrian, Pineapple Undies, Derek S, Mervyn Millionaire again. We got Adrian one more time in here. Marion Buford with the wave. Ricky Peters, thank you. Shout out to you. Happy to be here. Graph 808, Garvcom, Just Brad _V, Pineapple Undies again, Zero Gravity, Zen, Dr. Strange with more Canadian flags. Shout out to Fabian, where Bears vs. Bulls in here. The Piper, Mike Breeze, Robin Hood, Rogue Yogi, Bristol, Ryan Thompson, For Profit. And that's all the names I got so far, guys.
You're a machine. It's ridiculous. How do you do it? Look, I mean, Sean kicks butt with it. I think I do okay. Sharif does a pretty good job with it, but the only person that can do a real roll call is Adara, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Oh, I have one last thing that I wanted to say, and this is not really a thank you. We thank everyone around here, but you guys don't know this. Well, anyone that knows, I recently tore my Achilles, and the commute's been an absolute pain. And I'm not gonna say by name, but our big boss man found out how my commute was going, and now has a car, is like basically paid for a car to come pick me up at my house and drop me off and then pick me up after work. The guy's actually going to be here in a couple of minutes, which makes my day a heck of a lot nicer. And I think when we've talked about, we get like, if you're with the company for over 5 years, there's yearly trips. I went to Paris. Sean's going to London this year. Hopefully I'm going to Rome this year. And it's been absolutely fantastic. And I think one of those things is when you've got the freedom and wealth, check out that podcast every single Saturday when it comes out, paying it forward is really nice. It's great to work with a great team. It's great to work for great people who have big hearts and actually care about the people that work for them. And I think I was humbled by it. I didn't cry or anything, but I came pretty close. But thank you, everybody. It's been a fun one. Remember, these holiday shortened weeks, just because it's lower volume doesn't mean there aren't trading opportunities. It's a good day today, even better tomorrow. We're going to enjoy it. So if you're a Canadian, and happy Canada Day. We're looking forward to trading tomorrow. Check out the podcast. If you haven't listened to it, it's a Kevin O'Leary special. That is episode 5. Check it out on the ride home. Check it out on the holiday. Make sure you check it out and hit that like and subscribe every single day. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8:30. Ciao.
Bye.